In the SEC West, Auburn trying to stay on top. They're taking on Georgia. Enjoy the first half, everybody.
104 meetings and counting. The Deep South's oldest rivalry has come to the Plains and is evident at every corner. A welcoming committee has assembled. The arrival is imminent. Well-wishers block the path, parting only to offer a final gesture of encouragement. One last cry fills the Auburn sky. An SEC tradition when the 13th-ranked Georgia Bulldogs come calling on the 23rd-ranked Auburn Tigers from Jordan-Hare Stadium. Hi, everybody. Ron Franklin, and welcome to the 104th meeting between these two schools, the longest-running rivalry in the Southeastern Conference. And every time they meet, it seems as though something strange and unusual happens. Some cases in point. 1996, it took Georgia 4 overtime periods to finally knock off the Tigers. The very next year, Hines Ward and Jimmy Brumbaugh, two star players for Auburn and also for Georgia, collided on the opening kickoff. They both were knocked out. Neither would play another down the entire evening. And how about last year? Georgia ranked in the top 25. Well, it was Auburn who scored the first 38 unanswered points to get the upset victory. And if you think those things are strange, consider this. A home team has not won in the series since back in 1991. Mike Gottfried and Adrian Karsten will be here to help us sort things out on tonight's meeting between Georgia and Auburn after we pause for these messages. The Auburn Tigers, a repeat performance of last year's upset victory over the Bulldogs would suit them just fine. An all-out aerial assault punished the Dogs between the hedges, but friendly confines of home have not been as kind as of late in this neighborly rivalry. The men of red and black have turned to the defense all season long. Georgia's looking for payback on the Plains, and Donnan will set the Dogs loose. Georgia's salivating to play the spoiler, a must-win for the Tigers to keep pace in the SEC West. Take the field before a capacity house here at Jordan-Hare Stadium. A very special night. It's the final home game of the 2000 season for Auburn. And the other reason it's a very special night, when you look at the standings as the Bulldogs come calling on the Auburn Tigers, number 13 against number 23. Look at the SEC West. Auburn, LSU, Mississippi State, all tied with 4-2 records. And even before this game is over tonight, LSU and Ole Miss will start their game, which has super importance for the SEC West. The star is missing tonight. Quincy Carter, that right thumb in a cast, he will not be able to go tonight. And that means enter a young man by the name of Corey Phillips. And in fact, look at this. Corey Phillips and Ben Laird, they went to the same high school, Hartwell, Georgia. Hi once again, everybody. Ron Franklin, along with my regular partner, Mike Gottfried. And Mike, let's talk about the quarterback situation because it's huge tonight. How much of a different football team is Georgia with Corey rather than Quincy?
Ron, there's a lot of people, including the Auburn coaches, that think Georgia's a more dangerous team with Corey Phillips playing the quarterback position because they believe they'll run the ball a little bit more and a little bit more play-action pass. Don't be surprised, Terrence Edwards, a wide receiver who is a high school quarterback, will play some quarterback tonight. He played it in the pregame warm-up.
You told me yesterday in our production meeting you think this is the kind of game that Ben Laird either wins or helps lose for Auburn.
Well, Gary Gibbs, the defensive coordinator for Georgia, plays heavy zone 98% of the time, so Ben Laird's going to have a lot of windows to throw tonight.
The two head coaches in this ball game, Jim Donnan, 5th season as the Georgia head coach, almost 70% his winning percentage. And Tommy Tuberville in his 2nd year as the Auburn head coach, he is 12-8. Auburn won the toss. They have deferred. Georgia will receive. So Damon Duval will kick it off. And Bruce Thornton and Milliken are the two deep men as you look in the eyes of Duval. The 104th meeting between Auburn and Georgia, and it is underway. Very high, very long, out of the back of the end zone. Down to the sideline, and Adrian Karsten.
Ron, you need to know that even though Quincy Carter is not going to play in this game, he still will play a very significant role, because over the last 24 hours, his primary self-responsibility is to get close to Corey Phillips and just calm him down. Last night, in a one-on-one interview under the hot television lights, he really had that deer in the headlights look to him. Corey's face was white. His hands were shaking. Now, how he plays in front of 86,000 may be a totally different deal, but if he needs some support, physically, psychologically, Quincy Carter becomes his assistant coach tonight, Ron.
Well, we will watch it very, very closely, because this crowd is up and cheering and very noisy, and they will go straight ahead with a run in the first play. Jasper Sanks is knocked down after a gain of a couple. So here are the starting lineups. The young man we're talking about, 6'1", 212 out of Hartwell, Georgia. And the people that he will have with him, Milliken and Sanks, the running backs, Terrence Edwards, who also, as Mike said, will play some quarterback, and LeBron Mitchell, the wide receivers. Javaris Johnson, one of 3 tight ends we'll see for Georgia this evening. Musa Smith, who had his knee scoped 2 weeks ago, number 32, is lined up at tailback. They fake it to him, and the pass comes out to Edwards, and oh, he gets struck by Rodney Craven. Driven back, and this crowd really aroused by that hit. The offensive line for the Georgia Bulldogs, if the name looks familiar, should be Stenchcombe, younger brother of Jonas Jennings on the other side. Very good one and a veteran. And Mike, talk about the people they face off against.
Yeah, the best defensive lineman for Auburn is DeMarco McNeil, number 92, redshirt freshman out of Pritchard, Alabama. He'll be active against this Georgia offensive line.
Good look at him. 6'1", 296 pounds. Short walk to the line of scrimmage, but that play clock is down to 5. Gonna have to hurry. Down to 3, down to 2. They snap it. And Phillips' throw got it complete. Again, it's Edwards, and he'll be stopped short of the first down. Rashad Walker, number 37, is there to make the tackle, and a standing ovation for this Auburn defense.
Ron, not a bad start for Corey Phillips. 2 little short passes just to get him untracked a little bit. That's the design.
Jonathan Kilgo, a sophomore out of Silver Creek, Georgia, stands back to punt. You see his numbers. His long is 66, inside the 2013, and an average of almost 42 per try. Clifton Robinson is the deep man. Good hanging spiral, good cover kick. Robinson for the 34, gets by 1, will not get by number 2. And the tackle is made instantly on the special teams by Ryan Fleming. 41 yards in the kick and a -1 on the return. So the starters for Auburn. Young man is now a senior. Also, as we said, from Hartwell, Georgia. Has gone through a lot of adversity, but has handled it tremendously well. The people he will have with him, Rudy Johnson and Heath Evans behind him. Daniels and Reggie Worthy, the wide receivers. Lorenzo Diamond, the tight end. They, too, will feature 3 different tight ends at times tonight. We'll get Mike to talk about it. They will open up in 4 wide receivers, and in fact, they have done it right now. From the shotgun. Gets it out. Clifton Robinson, close to the 40-yard line, tripped up at the 39. The offensive line starts like this. Simmons, McGarry, Nowlin, probably the most pleasant surprise of that group. And talk about, the folks that he face off against.
Ron, if Georgia wins tonight, they win because of this defensive line. Now, they're all very good players. Josh Millard is my candidate tonight to be the guy that puts pressure on Ben Laird.
So Rudy stays in the backfield, Rudy Johnson. Heath Evans goes to the sidelines. And again, it is a 4 wide receiver set. They spread it out, and Rudy Johnson takes it straight ahead. It'll be good for the first down at the 44. Witherspoon there to make the tackle for the Georgia Bulldogs. Georgia's linebackers, the guy you got to look at. Witherspoon had just made a stop. Bell has improved tremendously, and this happens a lot of times with junior college players. All of a sudden, that window gets a lot bigger the second year. Henderson and Wansley, the corners. Jermaine Phillips and Vieira are the safeties. Mike, talk about the philosophy of what Auburn is doing. A little bit of a hurry up, going with the 4 wideouts.
They're trying to, their plan tonight obviously is going to involve tiring Richard Seymour and Marcus Stroud.
Make them chase, huh?
Make them chase, go on a long count, go on a quick count, cut them.
Robert Johnson comes in, a good block on Grant. Johnson turns the corner, has a blocker in front. That's Pusillo, and he is going to take it out almost for another first down as Vieira comes up from the secondary. You can see big number 79 and McGarry also out front blocking. But boy, the crash block inside, Robert Johnson really took out Charles Grant.
Yeah, and again, Rudy Johnson's the kind of back that'll wear you down into the fourth quarter. And they're starting this ball game everything wide. The quick pass on the outside, then the counter play wide. Again, trying to make these defensive linemen of Georgia run.
2 tight ends this time, 2 wide receivers, and a single back. Rudy Johnson again. Laird gives it to Johnson. Good hit right in the middle. Breaks off that tackle, though. Marcus Stroud is the man who hit him first. But I believe on the second effort that he is going to have the first down. Very close to the 45-yard line of Georgia.
Yeah, Marcus Stroud and Richard Seymour are 2 big defensive linemen. You're going to see Stroud right here set up Ben Nowell in the center and make the play on Rudy Johnson. And he needs some help because he can't get his arms off of Nowell.
Nowell did push him back just far enough that second effort, they're going to bring the chains in. But from where they have spotted it, it is very close to the 45 and maybe half the length of the football, but it would appear that they do have it. Wrong again, Franklin. Miss it by an inch.
You didn't get a good night's sleep last night. Marcus Stroud and Richard Seymour give Georgia's defense a chance up inside. They're so strong at holding the point at the line of scrimmage.
So just inches, just a couple of inches is all they need on this third down. Again, 2 tight ends, Diamond and Robert Johnson. And Laird straight ahead with the quarterback sneak. And I don't know. Marcus Stroud pushes him back. Now they have now stepped in and put the foot down squarely on the 45-yard line. Also, Seymour was there to help out.
When we came to do the LSU game, and in the first 3 ball games, Ben Laird quarterback sneak for 7 first downs. So they're back at it tonight again. 6'4", 222 pounds. Pretty good size quarterback to get that half yard.
You know what's interesting about him, though, in a stat that we got yesterday, Mike? He has picked up first downs with a quarterback sneak, but not one time this year has he come out of the pocket and run for a first down on a scramble.
Not a scrambler.
Swings the pass. Get this to Carter. Carter, the little guy that when we were here against LSU, they kicked off to him at the goal line, and 100 yards later, he said, see ya.
Talking to Noel Mazzoni about Tim Carter, he said that he has a chance to be as good as anyone in the country next year. He's disciplined now. He's got toughness. He's a track athlete. Hurt a lot last year. You could see the good block by Reggie Worthy. Nice drive by Auburn. They script their plays. They went through this drive yesterday in practice at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. The players know it. They walked through it last night. A lot of confidence.
About to go under 9 minutes to play in this opening quarter. Diamond in motion, but they give it to Rudy Johnson. Breaks 1 tackle. Will not break the second one. That's Millard who will knock him down. And Brian Kenny, let's check in with you.
Ron, we go to Nebraska and Kansas State. Nebraska can clinch the Big 12 North with the win. But here against K-State, bad pitch, Jonathan Beasley got it to Josh Scobie, who got into the end zone. 7-7, it's all tied up.
Alrighty.
That's something when you can run the option successfully against a team that's lived with the option. They've taught a lot of people how to run the option, Nebraska.
Rudy Johnson, 4 carries, 19 yards, and has 10 yards after contact. We'll elaborate on that as the evening goes on. They pull the guard and nothing doing. Caught from the backside. That's Hollingshead, who does a nice job of coming in to make the tackle. Junior out of Fort Valley, Georgia.
Bringing Heath Evans into the football game, Ron. More of a pass receiver, fullback, lead blocker for Rudy Johnson.
He's a junior out of West Palm Beach. Saw Heath and his parents yesterday at lunch. Very proud folks up here for this final home game of his junior year.
Like to put him on linebackers.
Laird has the time. That is Biera, and he's going to take up the distance, 74 yards.
Richard Seymour was there putting pressure, but Ben Laird, I watched him after the play, and he was beating the ground with his right hand. He knows he made a big mistake in throwing this football. See if we get any pressure on him. No, he just gets bumped a little bit, but you see the throw. He's not even near the wide receiver, and he got away from him.
Simmons was being pushed back into it.
This is what Georgia needs because they got a young quarterback, and you'd like to have a good start with a young quarterback.
Extra point attempt is up, and it is good by Billy Bennett. And just this quickly, a drive that Auburn had made look very, very good up until this play. Laird beats the ground, and it's Georgia on top by 7. Heating up inside the stadium, but there are a lot of fires out there for folks who could not get tickets and come in. So Ben Laird throws the interception. Biera with the pickoff, the sophomore out of Slidell, Louisiana. And he takes it back. They're now saying officially 75 yards for the touchdown. Remember who is back as part of a dual safety. Number 2, Tim Carter, the man who returned it 100 yards against LSU. But they do the wise thing and kick it away from him and deep in the end zone. Kerouac.
Ron, here's what happened on the interception. Clifton Robinson's the inside receiver. He's going to go down about 5 yards just in front of that chain right there. And now he's going to pirouette, come this direction. And Ben Laird's got him wide open. Just the ball got away from him. And Biera with the interception, it's a easy 7 points.
So Ben Laird comes back on, the senior out of Dothan. As we mentioned, had a great-looking drive going until that errant throw. Johnson. Diamond, the tight end, out in front trying to block, runs into his own blocker, Simmons, and then is going to be knocked down after a gain of maybe 1, and that is it. Robinson down at the bottom of the stack for Georgia.
Ron, just going back to that interception, we talked about it in the open. There's going to be a lot of zone coverage. Gary Gibbs, the defensive coordinator for Georgia, believes you don't come after people. If you come after them, you still stay in zone coverage. There's Gary. And he doesn't want to single up man for man. So Ben Laird's going to have the easy opportunities, but he let the ball get away from him, and just can't make those mistakes.
Diamond in motion. Quick pass out to the flat. Got it complete to Willis. Breaks 1 tackle. He'll have a gain of 5 on the play. And Adrian Karsten, let's check with you.
Kendrell Bell, number 37, the starting middle linebacker, is anxious to get back into this game, Ron, after suffering a deep right thigh bruise. He's been on the bicycle now. The only pain he has is when he gets down like a middle linebacker will, into that crouch position and flexes that muscle. He will be slow. They tell me about 85 to 90%. Hopefully he'll loosen up as time goes on.
Okay, Adrian, thanks. That's exactly what he was doing on the sideline as you were talking. He was doing those squats, trying to loosen up that thigh. 3rd down. Line to make. They need to take it to the 30. 7-0. Georgia leads on a 75-yard touchdown return of an interception by Biera. They set screen to the open side of the field. Here's Johnson, and Hollingshead is right there to wreck the play. Hollingshead doing a great job of moving across to the sideline and making the tackle.
Ron, that defense of Georgia is running to the ball very well. This play looks like it's got a chance for big yards. Now, you see the screen, see the blockers out front, but watch Georgia close on this. Hollingshead, the number 44, the linebacker, Jamie Henderson, the defensive back, keeping them from getting the first down. Good closure by the backers.
Damien Gary, the deep man, as Damon DeBall prepares to punt for the Auburn Tigers. Pressure right up the middle, and he got it away, but it's end over end. And Gary fumbles the ball at the 30 very wisely, gets right back in the football. Carter was there all over him. It's a kick of 41 yards and nothing on the return. So we'll take a timeout. The two Uggers going at it on the sideline. Welcome back to Jordan-Hare Stadium. Beautiful night here on the Plains. 7-0. Georgia leads this one. And if you have just joined us, it is by way of an interception return of 75 yards by Vieira, the safety. So the happiest guy in this ballpark right now, as you look at Ben Laird, who threw that miscue, is Corey Phillips, the young quarterback who is replacing Quincy Carter tonight. Without the aid of an offensive score, he's in front. As the handoff goes to Musa Smith, and McNeil is right there to just knock him down behind the line of scrimmage.
I talked to Corey Phillips before the ball game on the field, and he was smiling, and I did not take away from that he was nervous at all. And then I talked to Todd Donnan, who coaches the quarterbacks. He said he really is comfortable. He's poised. He's a walk-on that came to school here, and the coaches say if you stay, you'll play, and he's a true lesson of that.
Terrence Edwards to the bottom of the screen. Damian Gary to the top. Two tight ends in play action, and on the run they throw it, has it complete, and that's Gary, the man we were just talking about. They'll catch you up with the Auburn lineups. Things started happening very quickly. Thomas, Lincoln, and Pate, not guys actually that were recruited that heavily, but boy, they have played well, particularly Lincoln. And as Mike, how about the secondary?
Yeah, they've got two great corners, Rodney Creighton and Larry Casher, and that allows Auburn's defense to take one of those safeties and put them inside to stop the run, because they can play man-for-man coverage on those corners. There's Edwards at quarterback.
Number 8, Terrence Edwards. Lines up under center. They normally run option with him, and that's what they do right here, and he'll go down for a loss. Alton Moore, you have to think Georgia's going to try to throw it, but whether he's shotgun or under center, he has not thrown the ball once this year.
No, and we've seen this over time this year. A lot of teams will bring a wide receiver into quarterback position, but that's the one thing they haven't done is throw the football. But I believe Terrence Edwards will throw the football. He's a high school quarterback that threw for 16 touchdowns his senior year in high school, so he's capable.
Second punt for Kilgo. Clifton Robinson, the deep man, and straight back to the sideline. This time it's Terrence Edwards who is standing there talking with Quincy Carter. Nice driving spiral. You hear the ooh from the crowd. This thing hits at the 6, heads to the 3, to the 2, and cuts the end zone line. Oh my goodness, 63 yards on the punt. It looked as though it was just going to go right out of bounds at the 1. Jermaine Phillips was right there, but he couldn't get to it in time. So we'll take a timeout. 3:24 remaining. Opening quarter. Georgia 7-0. Are you looking on the end zone line? Jermaine Phillips is the man who you thought was going to touch it. This reminds you of the old expression about Billy Buckner. It's just right between the wickets.
Overran it.
Oh boy.
I think everybody's just always going to bring that up. Right?
Yeah. So it's 63 yards in the kick. Bell is back in the lineup. Number 37, working in the middle for the Georgia Bulldogs on defense. And for Auburn, they go back to the 4 wide receiver set. McIntyre, number 81, one of those 4. Laird, quick throw. Got it to DeAndre Green. And he's going to have a first down out of the 30. That's good for 11 yards. Now, Mike, this is what they did last year. Short drop, quick throw. And also fade routes.
And here's what's happening, though, Ron. When you have Ronnie Daniels on one side, over this side, you've got to have help on him. So they got 2 over here. Now they're outnumbered over here. It's 3 against 3 over here. That's why you're going to get the quick screens out here to this side. But that's the respect for Rodney Daniels.
2 tight ends, both wide receivers go to the top of the screen. Rudy Johnson knocked down for a loss by Seymour. Seymour just got penetration knocked him down very quickly. Adrian, what do you have for us, buddy?
The fact that he and Stroud take this rivalry so personally. He sat down with these guys last night at training table, Ron, and I said, right, first of all, you guys are both 6'6", 300. They said, no, we're 13 feet tall, 600 pounds. And they said, last year against Auburn, it was absolutely an embarrassment. And if both of us are not double teamed tonight, we take it as an insult. I said, I'll see you guys if you play well, midfield, post-game. He said, you're going to have to get us out of the Auburn backfield first.
Okay. Second down and 12 for Auburn following that good surge by the defensive front. It's Johnson in motion. Rudy Johnson straight ahead, breaks the tackle. Going to take it out for 5 more on the second effort, so we'll have a gain of 7. Jermaine Phillips making the tackle. The interesting thing, when they're not in the full wide receiver set, when Johnson's in the ball game, Mike, talk about the safety can't cheat as much because of the run, which frees up Daniels a little more, doesn't it?
You're exactly right. Johnson's a good wide receiver, and he's big as a tight end, 6'6", 254. When they bring him in motion, they're working on a 6-man front. They're a five-man front, 2 linebackers. He becomes the lead blocker. It's like having a fullback in the game.
Back to 4 wide receivers. Third down and 6. Line to make just over the 40. Ball is taken. Intercepted. Did Stroud catch it? No. It touched the ground.
Charles Grant knocked it down, and Richard Seymour was trying to get to it. Ben Laird not off to a good start. Number 19, Grant hits it with his hand. Now you're going to see the effort by Marcus Stroud to get the interception, but just couldn't come up with it.
You could see Heath Evans doing everything he could, trying to drive him away from the lane of where the ball was going to be thrown. Duvall again. His second punt of the night. Gary, the deep man for Georgia. Again, this spiral is not going to turn over. Fair catch is called for and made. And it's a 39-yard punt. More college football later this evening over on ESPN2. LSU is in Oxford, Mississippi to take on Deuce McAllister and the Ole Miss Rebels at 9 Eastern. The crowd on top of the SEC West, well, that's huge because everybody's been beating up on everybody, but the 4-2 mark, somebody's going to take a lead out of this tonight. Well, not necessarily if Ole Miss were to hold their own against LSU, but if LSU were to win, they would move to the top of the heap. Edwards in motion, but they give it to Milliken straight up the middle. 5 has 10, 15, and he's loose. Milliken at the 50-yard line, and it's going to be bulldogged there by Larry Kasher, but that's a gain of 27 yards.
Brett Milliken with a good block by Damian Gary on the outside, but a nice job by the offensive line. You see that hole, you can take a truck through there.
Look at McGill, yeah, 54, doing a nice job.
And that's why it is so dangerous when you have Corey Phillips in there, because they're going to depend more on the running game tonight, Georgia. They're not going to put everything on Quincy Carter's shoulders because he's not here. So now Corey Phillips has to share with everybody in this ball game.
The running play, short yardage. They'll take it inside the 45. Reggie Torber, a redshirt freshman out of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, makes the tackle.
Corey Phillips this year, Ron, started against Kentucky. He's 21 of 44, 4 touchdowns, 409 yards this season. The best thing that happened to Georgia tonight was getting a defensive score, 7-0.
No question. 18 seconds now, 17 seconds left in this opening quarter as Quincy Carter looks on from the sideline with a cast on his right thumb. Counter tray. Thornton hit behind the line of scrimmage, is going to be knocked down. He may gain. No, they're going to say no gain in the play. Thomas is there to make the tackle, and with that, the end of the opening quarter here at Jordan-Hare Stadium. So let's take a break as we head to the second 15 minutes of play. On a defensive score by Vieira, 75 yards with an interception. Georgia. So we're back 7-0. Georgia leads this one, and as we had mentioned, it came on a defensive score. In fact, this trip right here was the first time that Georgia has gone into Auburn territory on offense tonight. Third down. Play action. They swing it out and get the screen pass in the flat. And a great defensive job as Brown is tackled immediately by Walker. Wow.
You talk about a nice job. Now, you mentioned Walker. He got off the block of the wide receiver, made the tackle, and forces this punting situation. That's the way you do it. Right here. Corey Phillips faking the draw. Now, here's blocked right here. You tell your defenders, get off the block as quickly as you can. Throws away Reggie Brown and makes the play.
Wobbly spiral. Fair catch is called for and is made at the 11-yard line. It's Clifton Robinson. So the Tigers will take it over deep in their own territory. Wednesday night on ESPN Classic. Last weekend showdown between Michigan and Northwestern. Well, it's already an instant classic. 105 points, 1,200 yards of offense, and an incredible finish. This game had just about everything. Catch instant classics every Wednesday night, 9 o'clock Eastern. And now to order ESPN Classic, dial 1-800-CLASSIC, or you can call your cable or satellite provider.
Does that mean instant classic? It's a week old.
That's right.
So you have classics and instant.
Instant classics.
Pretty good. Ben Laird needs instant offense.
Yeah, but he does. And Colin Sears is back in the lineup. He had to leave. They retaped his ankle on the sideline just a moment ago. Tim Castro had come in, number 64, replacing him during that sequence. But it appears that Sears' injury not serious enough that it will keep him on the sideline. Here's the big guy, senior out of Russellville, Alabama, 6'3", 290. 2 seconds down to 1. And the crowd, did they get it off? I guess they did. Very short yardage on the running play. And Brian Kenny, let's check in with you again.
Ron, let's get back to Nebraska and Kansas State. Eric Crouch, last time he was at Manhattan, Kansas. Kansas State was beaten. Same thing for Matt Davison, but here, Crouch to Davison. They scored on the next play, 14-7 Nebraska.
A lot of back and forth in that ball game right there. Unusual to have a night game up there this late in the season.
I talked to Mel Kiper and Larry Beal today. They did a radio show from there, and it was snowing in the afternoon.
You remember we did the
Iowa State
and K-State up there, and it snowed like the dickens. Dangerous pass right over the middle. That thing almost intercepted. Adrian, let's check with you again. What do you have for us?
More on big Colin Sears, the right offensive guard. He has trouble run blocking, not so much pass blocking, because besides the right ankle, he took a good crack to the inside of the right knee, Ron, where there's no pad whatsoever. So he can backpedal, protect Ben Laird if he has to, but he can't push off. Significant because Rudy Johnson, just coming out of the game now, loves to run behind those big guys up front, especially inside the tackles.
Keith Evans is the lone setback this time, number 44. Laird drops it, picks it up, zings the pass, and almost intercepted. As the fight going on right now for possession, Jamie Henderson did take it away from him. Worthy is the man they were trying to get it to.
It all happened because the snap was too low. Ben Laird didn't have the right timing. When he finally picks up the football, tries to get it into Reggie Worthy. Ball's dropped. Now he picks it up. Now he throws. Now right here sits Henderson, 31, in great shape to pick this football off. Because of the drop snap, this caused the interception.
That was Q Bellick, number 61, who had come in replacing Nowland at center with the snap. And you can see the nice play made by Henderson for the interception. So the second pickoff of the night by the Georgia Bulldogs as they go straight ahead on a running play, and it sinks.
Ron, what happens when you get an early touchdown, 7-0, Jim Donnan now, and all of a sudden they get a turnover? He doesn't want to take the wraps off Corey Phillips yet because he knows his defense has got Auburn's number right now. So he doesn't want to cut loose. But if you're ever going to cut loose, this is the field position to do it in. Let him throw the ball down the field.
If you're a Georgia fan, the most beautiful thing that they've done tonight, they've taken this very noisy and partisan house right out of the ballgame.
Now the crowd's trying to get this defense back in the ball game.
Edwards in motion, 2nd down and 7. And it's Milliken. Nothing there this time. Going to be driven back. Alex Lincoln, the middle linebacker.
I want to go back again, Jim Donnan's thinking, because I know he's a little bit concerned about turning him loose because he don't want to give up the scoring opportunity. He knows he's got a chance for 3 down here. Brett Milliken on the run, but Auburn is just too tough against the run. If you're only going to run the football against Auburn, they're going to crowd that line of scrimmage with 8, 9 people.
You could see on that replay that the tackle was made by Lincoln, but it was Thomas, number 54, who took the blocker down and made the whole play blow up. 3rd down and 9. Back into the short side of the field, throws it complete to McNeil. Yeah, a little whooping going on there with Walker.
But that's the thinking now. You want the opportunity not to make the mistake, not to get 3. But as this game unfolds, Corey Phillips is going to work down the field a little bit more as Jim Donnan gets a little more confidence in him.
Well, McNeil took a chance there. On our isolations, we let McNeil threw the ball at him after he knocked him out of bounds. Lucky he didn't get a 15-yard penalty. 34-yard field goal attempt by Bennett, and he knocks it home. So put an asterisk by all 10 points. Both have come off turnovers, interceptions of Ben Laird. And that's the reason the Bulldogs are on top by a count of 10-0. Let's take a break. 11-13 left until halftime. Is brought to you by Holiday Inn, who gives you more, and more is better. And by Buick and your local Buick dealers. And we are back. Gorgeous moon over the plains tonight as Georgia prepares to kick it off, and we just make a reminder again that the man that they got to be extremely careful of is one of the deep backs is number 2, Tim Carter. Has a 100-yard kick return. In fact, we did that game against LSU.
Track athlete with great speed, 4.240.
Kerouac to kick it off for the Georgia Bulldogs. This time he kicks it into a slight breeze. This one's returnable. Bounds at the 10, picked up at the 5, and this is Robinson. And he falls. Does not even get back to the 20-yard line. And Adrian Karsten, let's check with you again.
Very special guest from Hart County High, back in Hartwell, Georgia, Bill and Kathy Laird. The emotions of a father watching his son, who's gone 12-3 as a starter here at Auburn, on his final night as a senior at Auburn.
Well, it means a lot to us for him to finish up here. We thought at one time we might not ever see this, but hope it turns out a little better than it's going right now. But I know he had to have a lot of good feeling walking through that tunnel tonight.
Kathy, you remember some of the memories from the scrapbook and some of the yearbook back at Hart County High. The messages in the letters that we have heard, Ron, Mike, and I, since we've been covering football here, what were some of those messages that really helped Ben in some of his darker times?
Just the fact that everyone pretty much has stayed with him. That's been the most supportive thing.
Making the scrapbook, who's responsible for putting this together? And some of the pictures, including Melanie, his fiancée, when she was captain of the cheerleading squad, as a matter of fact.
His aunt, Ann Bender.
Bill, do you have any hand in this at all?
No, my sister, she worked on it. She does them for my boys. Has been doing it for about 15 years for all 4 of my boys.
Ron, this has a lot to do with the reunion of 2 quarterbacks tonight who were 2 years apart back at Hart County High, and the emotions of parents at a college football game.
That's for sure. Nice job, Adrian. Pass intended for Carter, and that one's thrown just a little bit too high.
And Adrian talked about the notes that Kathy, his mother, sends him every week of the ball game. Says a little prayer in it, encouragement, and Ben Laird says he looks forward to reading that, and that gives him motivation to do well in the ball games.
The picture, the young lady, the muffler shop, is engaged to her.
Engaged in graduate school.
Yeah. Yep. 5 of 10, 36 yards, 2 interceptions. Not a memorable evening so far for Ben. Pressure is on him, going to be sacked, and those defensive linemen, this time Terrence Smith, breaks through and makes the tackle. And right now, let's don't pin everything on Ben Laird. The offensive line is getting manhandled right now by the defensive front of Georgia.
No, and Tommy Tuberville did not want to start this way, because when you have a freshman quarterback on the other side, you want to invite him out to play. He doesn't have to play right now. His defense is covering him up. He's got a 10-0 lead, and they've had great field position. So everything backfiring on Auburn.
Duvall gets a kick away off the side of his foot. Not very far. Bounding just across the 35-yard line, and Auburn's going to have to touch it dead at the 37. Wow. 23 yards in the kick. We'll take a break. 10-0 Georgia, and 9 minutes 42 seconds left until halftime. 10-0 Georgia. That ball was actually tipped. Now listen, we'll bring up the natural sound and you'll hear the ball hit the foot and then hitting the hand of Charles Grant, number 19. You could hear it hit his big right mitt. You could see Duvall looking back over his head, wanting to know if he blocked it behind him.
Terrence Edwards at quarterback. Now this is where I turn the quarterbacks loose a little bit here. Got great field position. You got a 10-0 lead.
High school quarterback, now wide receiver, hands it off on a running play, and that's Jasper Sanks, who continues to fight his way inside the 35-yard line.
You talk about Terrence Edwards. We talked about a quarterback in high school. He threw for 16 touchdowns and ran 96 times for 8 touchdowns. So he's a pretty good athlete. Led Washington County High School to the title in the state of Georgia. Sat out his first year. They moved him to wide receiver. He's caught a pass in every game he started.
Corey Phillips watches patiently on the sideline. About to go into 9 minutes left until halftime. Pitches this one and got him in all kind of trouble. That one blew up because the pressure from Tolbor, and on the option play, the quarterback's got to be parallel to the line of scrimmage. The minute he starts going backwards, it's over.
Auburn's playing option all the way when Terrence Edwards comes into the football game. You see the depth right here. Once the quarterback gets back here, he's in trouble in pitch relationship and good coverage by the corners. Hood, number 36. Now Corey Phillips back in the ball game on 3rd down. You don't want to give away this great field position.
So from the 42, as you see his numbers, 5 of 5. It's a 3rd down and 16. They roll the pocket. Zips it long, has it complete at the 21 to Darrell Robinson. 21 yards in the pass play.
Now, he's graduated now. I think you turn him loose. He threw that ball right on the money to Darrell Robinson, picked up the 1st down, and now they're in business. Came in with Terrence Edwards to try to run 2 option plays, hit the fullback Jasper Sanks, then an option. Now Corey Phillips picks up the 1st down.
And as you can see, Casher had it covered about as well as you can cover it. Quincy Carter nervously watches on the sideline.
Yeah, I talked to him before the ball game ran out to follow up after this play.
1st down and 10. The ball just inside the Auburn 21. Sanks, left side, boy, running hard.
Talking to Quincy before the ball game, he was really hurt that he's not able to play, and as Adrian said, he's going to try to help Corey Phillips tonight, but he didn't want to talk to him the first 2 or 3 series. As he said, everybody will be hovering over him. He said, where I'll help him is in the 2nd quarter and tell him what I see out there and how it is to play here, because he had a good game 2 years ago here.
Edwards and Gary both split out wide to the left. 2 tight ends set for Georgia. Sanks ran into his own blocker, still trying to move forward with a 2nd effort. And let's check in again with Brian Kenny. Brian?
Ron, let's go to the Pac-10. Washington led UCLA 14-0, but here it's tied up. UCLA on the move once again. Corey Paws stepping up. And to Brian Polly-Dixon, he'd get close. From there, they'd punch it in. 21-14 UCLA at the half.
Well, there have been some high-scoring games out there this year also.
And you know that Rick Neuheisel former assistant for Terry Donahue at UCLA. You know that game means a lot to him.
Look at these defensive numbers. Only 60 yards allowed by each defense. But Georgia leads by 10, and they are driving again. Musa Smith in a tailback, and they didn't get this one off. Going to cost them 5 yards.
Yeah, you got to get the play into him a little earlier. Corey Phillips, I'm impressed with him, the way he's playing. Now, he's going up and down with his offensive lineman, explaining the change, and he looks to me like he's got ice water in his veins. He's not bothered by this crowd.
That's the first penalty of the ball game.
Well officiated game here in the first half. And a good pace of the game, too.
Yeah, it really is. This drive right here, particularly if Georgia would have put it in the end zone. Crowd, as you had mentioned, Mike, trying desperately to help the Auburn Tigers, but they need to keep them out of the end zone here. Here comes the blitz. Gets his pass off. Got it. Should have been caught by McNeil. Good heavens, it hit him right in the hands.
They had everything what they wanted. They had Randy McMichael against Roderick Hood. And you can't throw it any better than that. He couldn't bring it in.
So it's going to be a field goal attempt. Let's see where they place this one down. A 37-yard attempt. 7 of 8 on the year by Bill Bennett. 43 is his longest. Set well. The left footer knocks it up and through. 6:01 left until halftime. Let's take a break at our new score. The Bulldogs 13 and Auburn nothing.
Mondays and Thursdays at 7.
A little grilling going on at the Siga House. So we mentioned a cool evening here in Auburn. Can you make out there a little tenderloin and then some burgers? I should have left that up to Adrian. He's far more proficient at that than we are, Mike.
Looked good.
6:01 to play until halftime. A rapidly moving ball game because a lot of running plays. As Mike has mentioned, Georgia trying to play it close to the vest. Let their defense do the work. Kerouac to kick it off. The two deep men, Carter and Robinson, as you look into the eyes of Carter. Very high. And this one's going to come down. Carter at the goal line. You hear the crowd getting up because they know what he can do. At the 35, finally hit from behind when he had to slow down, but it's a return of almost, it is 42 yards, and Ryan Fleming made the tackle.
That's exactly what they needed. Tim Carter, Eddie Grand coaches the special teams for Auburn. Always has some nice returns in his arsenal, and that was gives Auburn good field position.
This is the best start of any of the possessions by the Auburn Tigers tonight. It's Diamond in motion. They pitch it back to Rudy Johnson. I mean, this Georgia defense is all over him. Richard Seymour, the first man to make penetration. Then you see Burnett is there. And good job of gang tackling by the Bulldogs.
Yeah, we talked about this at the beginning of the game. This is as good a front as I've seen all year. Seymour, Stroud, Millard, and Charles Grant. And then you add those linebackers in there, they run well. The offensive line of Auburn is having a hard time blocking this front.
Kendall Bell at 5 that he got bruised earlier must have stiffened up on him because Hollingshead is back in the ball game at middle linebacker. 2nd down and 12. Lear lobs it right over the middle. Got this one to Daniels. First catch by Daniels tonight. They just drag him across the middle. Hollingshead makes the tackle.
He didn't practice, talking about Ronnie Daniels, for 2.5 weeks. He practiced Wednesday, Thursday, had a high ankle sprain. But they need him back in that lineup.
He's limping again.
Yeah, looks
coming
like
off the field, Mike.
That's what happens with ankles when you sprain them. You just need some time off.
Well, look at this game he had last year. 249 yards, 9 receptions, and 2 touchdowns. Laird under pressure, throws it off the back foot. Willis probably should have caught the football, but dangerous when he didn't, because there were two Georgia defenders right behind, and against Seymour with pressure on the quarterback.
And they're making things tough for Ben Laird. Up inside, you see Seymour and Stroud just keep pushing the pocket. Now all of a sudden you're throwing over outstretched hands, and it's tough to get a view with those two big guys roaring up the field. They got to come back and cut them a little bit at the line of scrimmage and throw quick.
And pressure right up the middle on a quarterback can be devastating. Very high kick, not going to turn over. Bearcats called for and made at the 25-yard line by Garrett.
I'll be shocked if they don't block the punt in this ballgame. They've been close 4 times. Charles Grant.
Let's take a break. Charles Grant got a piece of one. 13-0 Georgia. So we are back. Jordan-Hare Stadium. As you look at Daniels on the sideline, it would appear they're going to try to retape that ankle. But as Mike made the comments, once you get one hurt like that, truthfully, the best thing you can do for it is just do nothing. Obviously, they need him. They got Alabama coming up next week.
High ankle sprain. Tommy Tuberville, this game has not gone the way he wanted to start this game.
Early, you talked about how they scripted it. And for people who missed the early part of the ball game, they took the ball, they drove it, they were into Georgia territory and had everything going their way, and all of a sudden Laird throws an interception. Vieira goes 75 yards for a touchdown, and we were talking about the what-ifs during the timeout. If Auburn had gone in and scored the touchdown, how much more pressure it would have put on Georgia and the young quarterback.
Yeah, your play calling is different. When you know your defense, number one, is stopping the other team, and you know you got a young quarterback, your play calling is different. You don't have to take chances. And Jim Donnan feels very comfortable with his defense, feels very comfortable with his special teams, and he's not going to put Corey Phillips in a bad spot.
No.
And he's got good field position most of this ball game. So Corey Phillips has not, like you'd say, come on out and play. He doesn't have to come out and play.
And right now, with only 4:08 left until halftime, if they pick up 1, maybe 2 first downs, they can go into the locker room with that 13-0 lead. They put pressure on him. Air under this one, in and out of the hands of Edwards. The cover by Larry Kasher.
Said it every time we cover Auburn. Larry Kasher from Pritchard, Alabama, Blount High School. He was on the Bronco Nagurski watch list for the top defensive players in the country, and good coverage on Terrence Edwards. They're going to miss losing these 2 senior corners.
Yep, Kasher and Rodney Creighton. Pitches it back to Milliken, crosses the 30, now the 35, and here comes a flag from deep downfield as Pate made the tackle. 13 yards on the play.
I think they're going to call holding on Javaris Johnson. And that's where it was thrown at. Nice play called by Jim Donino. The option play, Corey Phillips, not much of a running threat, but you work all week on Quincy Carter, so you take away the quarterback and he pitches the ball off to Milliken.
Milliken's an interesting kid. You watch him and you think, well, does he really run that well? But buddy, north and south, you give him the football and he gets there very quickly. As all of a sudden, Terrence Edwards back in a quarterback.
Well, I'd say he's going to throw this football or give it to the fullback. He's not going to carry it this time.
Second down and 12.
Unless it's a draw.
Better hurry.
A late timeout called.
Georgia.
So we'll take the break with them. 3:34 left until halftime, and the Bulldogs leading it 13-0. 13-0. Georgia leads it, and explain.
Ron, what happens is the players don't know who's substituting from the sideline, so these two student assistants, they'll put up numbers, and that's who is in the ball game, whether Corey Phillips is in the ball game or Terrence Edwards at quarterback, how many wide receivers are in the game.
Musa Smith and tailback. They fake it to him. Zings the pass, got him open, and what a great catch at the 42, Damian Gary.
Corey Phillips is looking like Joe Montana, throwing that football off balance, and he's got a pretty good arm. Todd Donnan, the quarterback coach, says he's got a great arm. See him fade back and puts this ball on the money. A good catch by Damian Gary in front of Rodney Creighton and Rashad Walker. You can see a development of quarterback. He's got confidence now, and his team has confidence in him.
7 of 9, 48 yards. As Quincy Carter looks on from the sideline. Goes back into the short side of the field. That's Edwards. And Creighton is going to wrestle him down, but that's enough for the first down.
He's got a bounce in his step now, Corey Phillips. He goes over in between plays, checks with Jim Donnan. Way to go, son. Way to go. You know, he likes that. Everything's working for him right now. His teammates are applauding his action. Defense is sitting over in the sidelines, getting a little rest. Everything's going well for Georgia.
Right now, as they break the huddle, still 16 seconds on the play clock. That's the other thing that they wanted to make sure they had happen so that he didn't have to get in a big rush. Arm is hit just as the ball is thrown, and that's Whit Smith, junior out of Cornell, Georgia, who got a hand and hit him on the arm. So incomplete on the pass, and it stops the clock with 2:33 left.
As close as Auburn is to the state of Georgia, here's the hit by Whit Smith. Before the ball game, both teams walked out on the field when they arrived with their police escorts, and I've never seen so many guys that knew each other. They were hugging each other and everything, shaking hands, and these two teams know each other as well as any team they're going to play.
From the shotgun, they roll the pocket. Going to go on top, looking for Edwards. Edwards can't hold on. That's going to be offensive pass interference, I believe.
I don't know, Ron.
You see Casher.
It could go either way. Oh, I agree with you. It probably will go that way, but it could go either way here.
It's Robinson rather than Edwards. I beg your pardon.
I believe it's going to be on Robinson, number 9. Nope.
You're going to call it on the defense.
But I felt it could go either way because there's a lot of bumping going on down the sideline. Larry Casher, and you're going to see at the end, there's no, yeah, tell you what.
See, the interesting thing is Robinson was pushing off, and Larry hooked him right there.
Yeah, he couldn't get his arm up right here.
Yeah.
And that's the call. Could have gone either way. The push off and the hooking of the arm.
So Tommy Tuberville knows
he doesn't agree.
No, of course he doesn't. He knows how huge that is with still having 2:25 left until halftime, and now it is a first down at the 29-yard line. Here they come back with the option. Ball is fumbled and recovered by Whit Smith, Auburn.
What the doctor ordered for Tommy Tuberville and this Auburn football team, because they were getting ready to go down another field goal or touchdown. Play lasted too long by Corey Phillips, trying to get the ball to Bruce Thornton, but a good play by the Auburn defense.
Walker was penetrating and you could see that the tailback was watching him rather than watching the football as Rudy Johnson hit at the line of scrimmage and driven back by Seymour. And right now, those are not Rudies that they're sending from the stands. I'm afraid those are boos.
Yeah, Evan, you can't run inside right now because Seymour and Stroud own that territory. You got to go back to the counters. You got to back outside, play action passes. These two guys right here. Now he looks like two guys, but Seymour and Stroud own the line of scrimmage.
From the shotgun, 2nd down and 12. Right over the middle to Willis. So that'll be a gain from the original line of scrimmage of about 3. Witherspoon with the tackle.
And Auburn has all 3 of their timeouts left, so they got plenty of time here.
Boy, now if Auburn could stick it in the end zone,
oh, it'd be big,
and cut it to a 6-point ball game, would be huge, wouldn't it? See the backers creeping up. Very quick start by Seymour as the pass is thrown and completed to Willis. That's enough for the first down.
Number 26.
Marcel Willis, and this is what you have to do against a team that plays a lot of zone. You got to be patient and take the outs.
Timeout called by Auburn. Brian, Kenny, let's check with you. We got 60 seconds left until halftime. What do you have?
Yeah, well, we'll talk about Lou Holtz going to the swamp, a surprise in World Golf, and Nebraska and Kansas State. Mike mentioned this before. By the way, it's 34 degrees in Manhattan, Kansas tonight, 17 degrees with the wind chill. Big 12 championship game, though, will be outdoors at night, guys.
You know, we've talked about that a lot, Brian, and the fact that you have to wonder if the Big 12 might not be questioning themselves on that decision. You got a dome in St. Louis, you got a dome in San Antonio, but to play outdoors at night, and used to be in the state of Kansas,
yeah,
buddy, in December, that's tough.
And that'll be a home game for Nebraska because they'll have people.
If Nebraska is there.
If Nebraska is there, if they hold on against Kansas State and then can beat Colorado, that'll be an interesting ball game.
So as Mike mentioned, Auburn had all 3. They just used one of their timeouts. Now we need to double check one thing. On the big board it shows that they have 2. We just showed 1.
Yeah, they have 2. It's Quincy Carter, and he's talking again, coaching the young quarterback on the sideline.
Laird with an audible. Quick pass out in the flat. Got this one complete to Carter. Hollingshead is out there to make the tackle after a very short gain.
Adrian Hollingshead has had a big first half. He replaces Kendall Bell, and he just is all over the field. That play looked like it had a chance to gain some yards.
Well, they're wasting a lot of time right here. 33.
And they still have 2 timeouts.
Down to 32, down to 31. Laird zings it. Carter again tries to get out of bounds. I don't think he did.
No, but he's going to get the clock stopped with the first down.
With the first down, Witherspoon making the stop.
Witherspoon has a stop on Carter.
So there's a timeout. We'll take the break with them. 21 seconds left until halftime. Auburn driving. So we got 21 seconds left, and here are all the what-ifs. With that little time left, Duvall, you want to know what his longest is? 43 this year, career long 47. So they need about 7 or 8 yards from where they are.
Better block Mallard right here because he's a good pass rusher.
Kendall Simmons came out of his stance. He was worried about Millard as well. Tommy Tuberville knows that his team has not been sharp tonight. Here's Duvall on the sideline. And one of the things that happened last week, they had a week off, so they got some good hard work in. But this week it's been rainy. And they didn't get to go outdoors but one time. And he said yesterday when we visited with him, he was worried about the timing of his football team. And tonight, it bears out what his worries were all about.
Yeah, sometimes you come off an open date.
Pressure, ball is thrown complete. Laird really got smothered as Johnson makes the reception.
Dimitri Evans, number 92, hit Ben Laird just as he threw the football.
15 seconds left.
Yeah, talking about the open week, Ron, sometimes, you know, you get lethargic in the open date week and you take a couple days off and it's hard to get the players back. Talking to the Auburn coaches, they felt very good about their team's preparation. They thought they really did need the open day to heal some of their hurt guys, but they have not come out and have not played air-free.
Second down and 9. Clock now so important. Gets the ball away. Incomplete. Carter couldn't hold on. Carter appears to be injured as he stayed down. 9 ticks left on the clock, and it was Millard who was applying pressure.
Yeah, Josh Millard has a way about him to get to the quarterback, number 98, and you've got to make sure you block him because you've got Stroud and Seymour inside. You got a double team him. He benefits from that.
Mike, watch this on the replay. He gets hit in the head with a knee.
Yeah.
It is I think Wansley is the guy who was coming after him. See if that's not the case. Tim Wansley, number 2 on 2. And watch his knee. It's an inadvertent thing, obviously, but either forearm or a knee, one of the two. So 9 seconds left until halftime as they continue to look over Tim Carter. So let's take a break with 9 seconds left until halftime. 13-0 Georgia. We'll be back with more from Jordan-Hare right after this. So we are back. Tim Carter is the injured player, and he is still down. We'll show you the replay one more time. As you look at the players, Auburn has already gathered and had a prayer together, and now Georgia has done the same thing. If you'll watch the replay, top of the screen, number 2 against number 2. He makes what appears to be a catch right here and then is hit with a forearm. And you can tell that the youngster right here, after he is hit, that he never moves after that. So while we have a delay, let's check in with Brian Kenny.
Stand by.
Very much. Carter is still down on the far sideline. 3 catches for him, 23 yards. In a collision on the sideline, and you never want to be too careful. The youngster looked as though he had been knocked unconscious or he didn't move after the catch was made. And they have now loaded him on a stretcher, and they're going to put him in the ambulance to take him off the field. Wansley, the young man who delivered the blow, obviously concerned, and he's paced back and forth on the sideline. And it's a thing where both teams actually gathered together and had prayer, and we will get something from Adrian and from the sideline just as soon as we can about Tim Carter. Obviously a very serious moment here in Jordan-Hare Stadium, and the over 85,000 just going completely silent, as you would expect it, the atmosphere to be. Mike, in the SEC, huge ball game, this one here tonight. Auburn, well, Mississippi State won today. Semi in the driver's seat, but LSU and Ole Miss are playing starting very shortly. If LSU were to win that ball game there tonight, they defeated Mississippi State. Auburn defeated LSU. LSU defeated, Auburn was beaten by Mississippi State. So you got everybody has knocked off everybody. This one here this evening, very big, and everybody keeps an eye on Oxford tonight as well.
No doubt. You think Mississippi State's pulling for Ole Miss? Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, they're going to pull for them.
Not outwardly, but I think
they're sitting in the best spot.
Yeah.
I really do, because they seem to be playing the best football. LSU, it'll be interesting tonight, their game with Ole Miss, because whether Ole Miss can stop Toefield and the running game of LSU. Ole Miss is going to put some points up, but Auburn's still alive in this West standings. They close out with Alabama next week, and but they need to get some offense here in this football game.
Mike, let's go to the sideline. Adrian, we understand you have some more information on the injury to Carter.
After he took the knee to the helmet, Ron, he was unconscious for about 10 to 12 seconds, the amount of time it took for the training staff from Auburn to get to the far side of the field. Once they did arrive, he regained consciousness. He has good motor feeling, good movement in his fingers, feet, hands, arms, legs. He is on the way to the local hospital with his family who are here, so it's relatively good news at this point.
Okay, that's great. We did see, while Brian Kenny was filling us in on some scores, Ben Laird had come over and took his hand and patted him on the leg, and we saw movement with his arms, which made us all feel better. But we'll get an update from the hospital. 9 seconds left, and you can see the ball right now as they fake the handoff. Pass is thrown. Clifton Robinson trying to get to the sideline, and he reaches up and calls a timeout at the 31. Seymour is the man who was putting pressure on, and now we're looking at about a 48-yard field goal attempt.
And the other problem for Tommy Tuberville is you lose Tim Carter. He's already lost Ronnie Daniels. He has not returned in the football game with that ankle sprain.
So that means that Marcel Willis, who's only a sophomore, Reggie Worthy is a senior.
Yeah, Clifton Robinson, senior.
Right. And DeAndre Green, who is a freshman out of Pritchard, Alabama, are the people that they're going to have to depend on in the second half. The biggest thing Auburn's going to have to do, though, and we were talking also during the timeout, they just have not looked sharp.
No, and for a lot of reasons, but offensively, you talked about it. They started the first drive, looked like they were going to be real crisp and moving the football. You can see what their record is when they don't score under 20 or under 20 for Tommy Tuberville. It's not pretty, but this Georgia team, with the way this game started, is playing with so much more confidence than Auburn. And I bought the paper coming through Atlanta and read some stories about how the Georgia players didn't like the game last year, and Auburn, the players celebrating after the ball game. So this has been a great revenge week for them.
Career long 47. And the ball, if he hits this one, it'll be a new career high. 48-yard attempt from the far right hash mark. And now Georgia's going to call a timeout and try to ice him.
That's Georgia's second timeout.
Well, tomorrow morning on Sunday NFL Countdown, Warren Sapp is hot and Javon Kearse is not. Plus, the high-flying St. Louis Rams have come back down to earth. Then after the games, Chris Berman, Tom Jackson return for NFL Primetime at 7:30 Eastern, leading you up to the Jets and the Colts on ESPN.
Ron, Georgia still has one timeout left. I'd use it again, too. As soon as they're getting ready to snap the ball, call timeout again. Corey Phillips played very well in the first half. Defense has played well.
Jim Donnan continues to pace on the sideline. His ball club up 13-0. 10 of those points have come because of turnovers. Damon Duval, a sophomore out of Chattanooga, Tennessee. We gave you the numbers. Career long 47. This is going to be a 48-yard attempt. Good pass. Boy, he knocked it long and high and good. So some momentum for the Auburn Tigers as we head to the locker room and halftime. Our score at halftime is Georgia 13 and Auburn 3. Now at Sports Center in-game, Brian Kenny with the Buick halftime report. Brian? 13-3 as we prepare to start the third quarter here in Auburn, Alabama. And the quarterbacks, well, they're the ones we talked about off the top of the telecast tonight. And Mike, what do you see here as far as the comparisons?
Well, Corey Phillips has had the better evening because he hasn't made any mistakes. Ben Laird, whose team really needs him to complete some passes against this zone coverage, he's had 2 big interceptions.
Well, we've talked about the fact that Auburn looked a little flat in the first half, but when you look, their defense held Georgia to under 100 yards in total offense.
Did a good job. They can't run the ball, though. They can't get Rudy Johnson unleashed. They have to give him in the second half here. Here's Ben Laird's first interception that went for a touchdown. just got away from him. Here's the second one where he drops the ball, and then Ronsley comes in and picks that off. A little late on the throw, and Ben Laird, the emotional leader of this Auburn team, needs to have some success here in the second half.
Neither team with 100 yards in the first half.
You know, and there's a statistic on the rushing for Auburn. They gained the first 4 carries. They had 19 yards. Looked like they were going to be able to run the ball. And then the last 10 carries, they've gotten 1 yard. So a good adjustment by Gary Gibbs and the Georgia defensive staff.
Kerouac prepares to kick it off. Robinson along with Roderick Hood back deep. Taken by Hood. 35. Back to the middle of the field, across the 40, and Ben Laird is going to have excellent field position after a 35-yard return. Adrian Karsten, what do you have for us?
Ron, I have the first half report card on Corey Phillips as submitted by head coach and teacher Jim Dunn. Ball handling, A. Game management, A. Carrying out your fakes, B. Passing accuracy, B+. Running the option, D, maybe D-. But he said, you know, if I'm comparing him to Quincy Carter running the option at this point, if that's the worst thing in the world, fine. I want him to start all over again in the second half like it's a brand new ball game.
Certainly has been cool. Right now, let's see what Ben Laird can do and right himself, because he got off on a wrong foot in that opening drive. As you look at Johnson, has 5, has 10, and he's loose. At the 20, 15, 10, at the 5-yard line is tackled from behind by Vieira. It's a 55-yard run.
Before that run, Rudy Johnson had gained 23 yards. His longest run was 9 yards. Vieira, number 15, will catch him at about the 4-yard line. So Rudy Johnson has brought this crowd back into the football game.
Well, for sure, because they had started to slumber, but it was the Auburn team on the field that caused them to slumber. First and goal from the 4. Johnson right up the gut, nothing. 97 Stroud, all kinds of penetration.
Ronnie Daniels has entered the ball game too, Ron. He's been in on the last 2 plays. Looks like he's limping a little bit, but in the game.
I guess if nothing else, to have him there as a decoy could be a help.
Marcel Willis has the best vertical jump on this football team, number 80.
Play action. Laird lobs for the end zone. In and out of the hands. Worthy was there, but I'm not sure. There were 2 receivers right there together.
Somebody busted the route, because you don't want 2 receivers. You had Robert Johnson, a tight end, and Reggie Worthy, number 4, in the same area. Ben Laird with a pretty good fake. Everybody's now worried about Rudy Johnson. You see both receivers, and that brings in an extra defender.
So it's 3rd down and goal. Keith Evans in the ball game, number 44. Laird delivers. Touchdown, Worthy. Millard really hit Ben Laird just after he threw it, but he gets the touchdown, and less than a minute and a half into the second half of play, all of a sudden Auburn has got the faithful up and roaring.
Good throw by Ben Laird. Right on time to Reggie Worthy. He's right inside the goal line for the touchdown.
Damon Duval to attempt the extra point and try to make this a field goal ball game.
Injury timeout.
Cap Burnett, number 23, looks to be hurt, and that's why the officials are calling the timeout. Rudy Johnson gave this Auburn team a big lift with that run. Well blocked.
It really was, because for the first time tonight, those 2 track The two tackles did not dictate what happened in the inside carry. Rudy Johnson now 14 attempts, 75 yards.
And you talked about the field goal just before half. That gives you enough to go in the locker room with everything's positive, and then you came out and you get a score. So everything looks up for Tommy Tuberville. And they're going to get a penalty on the running into the kicker.
It's Jamie Henderson who ran into the kicker. Extra point is good. It's a 13-10 ball game. And there is a flag down, as Mike said. And it's going to be because of that collision. Here's Rudy again. So let's take a timeout. This 55-yard run. Absolutely gorgeous night. And look at this jam-packed stadium from an aerial view. Filled to overflow. The neighboring states of Georgia and Alabama, being, of course, the Auburn Tigers and the Georgia Bulldogs, getting together tonight, just a few miles from each border. Duvall prepares to kick it off. And Mike, we saw an onside kick by Tommy Tuberville in the Ole Miss game. 15-yard penalty. It's out at the 50. You think he'll do it again?
Got a chance. Looks like he'll kick it out of the end zone. You always wonder why they don't pooch kick that, because you got great field position anyway, but redshirt freshman or the young quarterback, they're trying to put him in the hole.
Adrian Karsten, what do you have for us?
Well, Corey Phillips is playing rather tonight because Quincy Carter can't. Very different situation now, Quincy. For Corey, I know you've been helping him in the first half. How did you coach him in the first half?
Well, you know, I just told Corey just need to settle down. Corey's doing a great job right now. He's seeing everything. They're making a little run right now, so it's important for Corey to just stay poised and relax.
What's his game plan now in this third quarter?
Right now, we just want to keep doing the same thing we've been doing in the first half. Seems like everything is working, so just keep Corey relaxed.
He really looked like deer in the headlights to me yesterday when we had him one-on-one. How's his air? Is he nervous at all here tonight?
I don't think so. You know, Corey's been pretty relaxed all week. He did a good job against Kentucky stepping in, so he's been in this situation before.
Coach Donnan told me at halftime the one thing he'd give him a D on, rating below average, is running the option. Who might he be thinking about there?
I don't know. But, you know, we'll just have to see what we get in the second half. You know, I don't want to get too much of the game pan away, so we'll see what's open in the second half.
What's the prognosis for next week? You've got this cast on. It looks like it's a 2-week deal. Are you going to play next week or not?
I'm not sure. You know, that's right now it's up in there. You know, us and the doctors got to talk about it, so we'll just see for next week.
You get yourself healthy. Thanks for the time, Quincy.
Thanks you, Adrian.
Nice move by Damian Gary. Not going to have the first down, but he'll bring him to within about 2.5.
And just a nice young man, Quincy Carter. I talked to him about whether he's going to come back next year, and so that kind of is up in the air a little bit. We hope he gets back. But Corey Phillips has done what they needed him to do in the first half. Now, as the game gets a little closer, he's going to have to start making more plays for the Georgia offense.
So the situation here, it's third down, and about 2.5. They need to take it to the 30.
No, Ron, we were real impressed with Yusuf Smith. He has not really done anything tonight. Hard running back.
Had to have his knee scoped. Here he gets the handoff, and he's very close to the first down. In fact, I'm surprised that he is able to come back. He is only a freshman out of Elliotsburg, Pennsylvania. 6'1", 208 pounds, and the coaching staff seems to think that he's going to bring a lot to the table in the next 3 years. Did not make the first down. Georgia will punt it away.
This game has turned a little bit on the special teams of Auburn. They get another chance here to return the punt, but they got a good kickoff return to start the second half.
Kilgo, his 4th punt of the night. Clifton Robinson is the deep man. He has dropped off to the 35-yard line. This is a good high driving spiral. Fair catch called for and made at the 28. So we'll take a timeout following that 43-yard punt. 12:05 left in the third quarter. Georgia by 3. Drive in. Welcome back to the Plains. Our score 13-10. The Georgia Bulldogs on top. Total yardage now. Georgia has just hit 100 yards total offense, and Auburn is at 153 thanks to that 55-yard gallop by Rudy Johnson to set up the touchdown to open this third quarter. Prior to that run, they had only 20 yards rushing for the first 2 quarters. Fakes it to Johnson this time. On the roll, gets it to Johnson, the tight end, and he will take it across the 35 to the 36.
Once you have success with Rudy Johnson running to the right, now you come back off of that with the play action fake and then hit the tight end Robert Johnson. Now Robert Johnson's like having a wide receiver. He practices the routes with the wide receivers because he is such a good athlete at 6'6", 254.
Yeah, they got some great looking specimens at tight end. Johnson, Rudy has the first down. Close to the 45-yard line. Jermaine Phillips will spin him down.
Well, you talked about the first drive. They hit Rudy Johnson in a couple runs there. And when they run the ball well with Rudy Johnson, it opens up everything else. And Ben Laird's a different quarterback when he has the running game going.
Well, what a difference a first half and now early in the second half can make. 63 yards already in the second half of play. Give it to him again, stretch the play, crosses the 50, down to around the 45-yard line. Hart McGarry with a very good block. Mike, talk about what they do on a play like that where you do stretch it. You got to just get a little bit of a seal on that big tackle, and then you're...
Where they're doing a good job on Josh Millard, number 98. They're able to seal him inside, and they're able to get into the boundary. Now they've run into the boundary the last couple times. Helmet on the helmet.
Johnson, they bring him back to the near side, and not much there this time. Vieira, one of the first men. And also off the bottom of the pile is Tony Gilbert, number 42.
All they needed was a running back here. They have been very poor in the running game. 99 averaged 1.9 yards, which was last in the nation. This year you can see the change in the offensive line and Rudy Johnson. Eddie Grand, the running back coach, recruited Rudy.
Well, they got 94 yards tonight. Second down and 7. See the clock about to go under 10 minutes left, third quarter. Johnson breaks off one tackle, but the penetration was there. He is going to have the first down, though. Stroud is the man who got the penetration.
He had a chance at him, Ron, but he had to get him by the neck. And Rudy Johnson's just too hard a runner and a lower body strength. See number 97 grabbing at the shoulder pads. And then he bounces off Charles Grant. And this is where, once you get him running, second half is when he makes his hay.
The coaches have talked about this so much here at Auburn, that the third and fourth quarter check his yardage compared to the first half. 9 100-yard plus rushing games, school record. Play action, going to reverse it out. Complete. That is Lorenzo Diamond, the tight end. And he is down close to the 25-yard line. Jermaine Phillips made the tackle.
When you get your running game going, all of a sudden the linebackers move in regard to Rudy Johnson. That opens up the passing lane. Now there's no linebacker there. Lorenzo Diamond with an easy catch.
Well, this time Rudy Johnson hit behind the line of scrimmage, broke the tackle of Seymour, and finally going to be knocked out of bounds after a short game. Millard finally got it. Seymour again with penetration. Stroud and Seymour both getting penetration, but not always able to knock down number 32.
Slanting into the boundary, Ron. They expect the run to go into the boundary, so they're slanting those two big tackles into the short side of the field.
Looks like Stroud is shaken up.
Now, this is a wise thing by Rodney Garner to take them out a little bit, give them a little bit of a rest.
Evans, the lone setback this time. And they give it to him right up the middle. Breaks a tackle, breaks a second. Flag is down at the line of scrimmage. This crowd really likes Heath Evans because they have seen him play through injuries, all kinds of hurts, and he's one of those type of kids. Coaches love him. All he says is just give me the ball and I will do something with it. He's the greatest can-do attitude guy you can have on a team.
And he blocks a lot, Ron. He doesn't get the football much. 29 carries coming into this ball game tonight, so give him 30 carries.
Defense, offside. Be a 5-yard penalty, remains second down.
Well, tonight's Aflac trivia question comes from a suggestion on the Ask Adrian website. Who was the last Auburn quarterback to defeat Georgia in consecutive seasons? We'll have that answer later on. Well, are we giving something away here, guys? Just a guess, huh? Second down at about 4. Johnson gets it outside, and a nice job in the secondary. Number 5, Jermaine Phillips, came up and helped stop that one very, very quickly. It looked as though they had sealed the inside.
They did, Ron, and when you seal the inside, of course, linebacker is going to come off the ball. The number 87, Robert Johnson, here's the block. Now you got the seal on the inside, but both linebackers are going to scrape outside. And Hollenshed again gets help from the secondary from Jermaine Phillips.
Tony Gilbert took a pretty good shot there from the tight end who came over to help out. 8th play. This started back at the Auburn 28-yard line. It's 3rd down and 3. Right over the middle, incomplete. Boy, DeAndre Green, the intended receiver.
They got to go for this, Ron, I believe. Field goal wise, it's a choice right here. Kick the field goal, tie it up.
Well, Duvall is coming on the field. Now, you never know when Tommy Tuberville is going to do what it appears when it comes to special teams. This attempt is 37 yards.
I think he's going to kick this one to try to tie this game up.
Good pass, and looks as though he's done it again. Hit one from 48 just at the end of the first half, and now knocks this one home from 37 yards. And it's 7:33 left in the 3rd quarter. We are tied at 13. Right back. We're now tied at 13. A little story. David Housel, who's the athletic director here, former sports information director, writes a column for every game and game program. And he makes a very astute observation that UGA, the initial UGA, was given to the University of Georgia by an Auburn man. So the tie is very direct. Again, you talked about how close you saw the kids shaking hands and hugging tonight, that the proximity. Obviously, everybody very, very close. So even in mascots.
I want Adrian to interview UGA because he's got a sweater deal with Russell. He's the only dog I know with a sweater deal.
Thornton Milliken, the 2-men back deep. Very high kick, 1 yard deep, and it'll be Thornton who will return it. Wow, what a hit just prior to the 20-yard line, and that is Heath Evans, the man we were just talking about, who plays fullback and also plays special teams, but whatever he plays with a great fervor. His motor is running. Women's college basketball tomorrow. It's the State Farm tip-off. 1:30 Eastern. Old Dominion will take on Penn State. The Lady Lions on ESPN2. Then at 4 o'clock, 3rd-ranked Georgia battles it out with number 1-ranked the UConn Huskies right here on ESPN. For more, log on to ESPN.com.
Now, Ron, what Auburn has done is making Corey Phillips now make some plays. New ball game.
Sanks hit at the line of scrimmage, and they're going to give him the line of scrimmage, but that's it, as Rob Pate A very steady player for Auburn comes over to make the tackle.
And that's the other thing now that's going to happen. Auburn's going to play 8 people in the box. They're not going to let Georgia run the ball. They're going to say now to Jim Donnan, let Corey Phillips prove he can beat us. And I was impressed with Corey Phillips in the first half. He can beat you.
Good look at DeMarco McNeil. The redshirt freshman out of Pritchard. 2nd down and 10. The ball just shy of the 20-yard line. Blitz is on. Right over the middle. Got it in and out of the hands of Javaris Johnson. Oh, my goodness. Jim Donnan's just got to have his heart pounding. He had the play. It worked beautifully. The young quarterback put it right in his hands.
Auburn's going to come after the quarterback right here. You see the pressure. Here comes Pate on the blitz. Corey Phillips stays right in there. Ball's got to be caught. Stanford Simmons, number 8, deflecting the ball away from Javaris Johnson, or I'm not sure, he just didn't drop it.
9 of 13, 67 yards for Corey Phillips. It is 3rd down. The line to make, the 29.5-yard line. We're tied at 13, and we have 6:31 to play, 3rd quarter.
Here's your leading receiver right there, Terrence Edwards.
That's who he wants, and he underthrew it.
Now, Terrence Edwards wants a holding call. He was held coming out, but he's not going to get the call. Corey Phillips trying to look for the leading receiver, Roderick Hood, on coverage, and this Auburn crowd now is alive in this football game. Here's Terrence Edwards. There's what he was referring to. There's the hold.
Yep, twice.
Yep.
5th punt by Jonathan Kilgo. Clifton Robinson, the deep man. So Edwards was correct in protesting, but no good. Hanging spiral, good coverage kick, and catch is made. This is going to be a 5-yard delay of game penalty for the halo violation. Davis tried to get away from him, but he was slipping down, and he was already within the 2-yard barrier. Brian Kenny, let's check with you again.
Ron, let's get to LSU and Ole Miss. We saw LSU with Rowan Davey beating Tennessee in September on ESPN, but he got hurt, and Josh Booty is a new man rolling out. Hits Eric Edwards. He's won 3 in a row. This touchdown pass putting LSU up on top at 7-3 in the 2nd quarter.
As we have discussed, a very big one in the SEC West.
Josh Booty just keeps improving, though. But he has a running game now with Tofield, the tailback. So that ball club is taken off. But they've won 7 games at home. They need to prove they can win on the road. They've lost their 2 road games they played to date.
A slumbering Auburn offense has scored on their last 3 possessions. 2 tight ends, 2 wide receivers. Rudy Johnson, the only setback, he gets it, cuts it back into the middle. There's just not much there. You see 93 along with Terrence Smith, but Seymour is there also quickly to knock him down.
Rudy Johnson has really brought this football team back into this game. Able to break away just after the start of the 3rd quarter right here. This run, it set up the touchdown. Throwing him the football in the backfield. He is the main man on this offensive ball club.
2 tight ends, 2 wide receivers again for the Auburn Tigers. 21 carries, 104 yards for him. They try the left side, and there's not much there. Gilbert will wind up wrestling him to the ground. Also there is Richard Seymour. And the crowd thought that maybe the play should have been whistled dead before it was. But Rudy was still turning those legs. Tonight, 106 yards. 95 of those yards after contact. Rudy's going to come out of the ball game, and that means 44. Heath Evans will come in as the lone setback in the shotgun with Ben Lear. Laird's pass, throws it to Evans, makes the catch, but he gets hit immediately. Spins around, and they're going to say that he stepped out of bounds. It's Jamie Henderson who was out there to make the collision with him.
That's a good hit by Jamie Henderson. A good catch by Heath Evans, the fullback.
Jamie Henderson, the young man that made the touchdown interception against Arkansas back earlier in the season, which opened the floodgates for the Georgia Bulldogs.
Picked off a quick hitch and ran it into the end zone.
So the ball to punt again. Damian Gary, the deep man for Georgia. Will he rush this one end over end? Gary from the 16. Tavarius Robinson on the tackle. Let's check on the sideline. Adrian, what do you have for us?
Ron, in the history of the Ask Adrian website this season, by far the most asked question, we were inundated with over maybe 200 requests. You need to see the 21-year-old Golden Eagle, Tiger the Sixth, circle the stadium here at Jordan-Hare. The most fabulous 30 seconds in football before kickoff. It's absolutely a breathtaking sight. And with Joe Shelnick, who is the director of the Southeastern Raptor Rehabilitation Center, 21 years old, which is what in human terms, Joe?
Oh, it's about mid to late 60s or so.
Wingspan of how much? How strong is she?
Just about 8 feet and weighs about 12 pounds.
When you ever release her and you see her circling up there, do you ever have moments of nervousness saying, well, she just may take off?
Well, we have a little bit of a moment of tribulation there, but the bird's a steady bird, and we're confident in her ability.
Can she throw the football? I mean, I've heard about Eagle Eye, but she could use a little help tonight.
Yeah, they could use a little help, but, you know, she's been a tremendous asset to Auburn Spirit and tremendous asset for wildlife education, too.
Joe, thank you very much for the education. A very, very proud bird.
Okay, Adrian, thanks a million. That is a spectacular sight when she comes out of that cage and circles the top of the stadium here. Tied at 13, 4:21 left in the third quarter. A second down and 7. Milliken to set back this time. They give it to Milliken. Cuts back to the left. Has 5, has 10. Still on his feet as the tackler did not wrap up. The ball came loose. Auburn has recovered the football. It just laid there and nobody moved. Mark Brown made the recovery.
Brett Milliken was trying to get every extra yard he could get.
Well, you judge.
They hit him with the draw.
Yep, the ball was coming out.
It's a good call. This officials group has kept this game at a good pace, and they've made all the right calls.
Ball was coming out just before he hit the turf. Rudy Johnson, left side, bounces it to the outside. Still on his feet, breaks another tackle at the 30, down inside the 25-yard line. 17 yards on the carry.
Ron, he took a couple big-time hits, too. And he just will not go down. Watch him. There's one hit. There's a good hit by Phillips. And he just keeps motoring on down the field. Finally, Witherspoon with a tackle.
They're going to spot him down at the 25.5. Mike Fusillo with a very good block to help get his big tailback to the outside. Look at that, 104 of his 124 after collision. Johnson again, hit at the line of scrimmage, spinning him around David Jacobs. Adrian Karsten, let's check with you again.
Another thought on why he has so many yards after contact. Very simplistic. He has 2 calls. You run inside or outside. Really, that's inside the tackles or outside the tackles. He likes to keep it inside. His high knee action, Ron, when he comes to that line, reminds me of guys like Roger Craig and Jimmy Taylor in another generation. Once he breaks the line of scrimmage, then he drops the knees, he drops his body, and then really takes off. He becomes such a low center of gravity, it's so hard to get lower than he is and stop him.
Funny thing about it, Adrian, he runs a 4.7, but rarely do you see somebody catching from behind.
No, you got to get him before he starts. On the last play, that's what they did. Got some penetration on him.
Laird's pass too high this time. Willis is the gentleman that they wanted. That'll stop the clock at the 2:48 mark.
Rudy's been the difference in the third quarter.
Mike, what is the difference, though, as far as Noah Mazzoni, and what what they changed? Was it blocking schemes or theories as far as how they were going to attack this defense?
Yeah, it looks to me like they're running more zone, more counter here in the second half, pulling some guards, leading on the linebackers with Rudy Johnson. But Ben Laird still, to me, the game's going to be won by Ben Laird in the play-action passing game off of Rudy Johnson.
Well, Coach Mazzoni wanted a timeout, didn't get it. Play clock is at 2. Laird's pass, caught. Willis heading the wrong way, had the first down. A pretty big spin move there, wasn't it?
Pretty good throw to Marcel Willis. They spread you out in the field, and then all of a sudden Heath Evans comes out of the backfield. So you got Heath Evans here, and here's going to be the window for Ben Laird to throw to. And so you can't get any help because you got to defend on Heath Evans.
So they're going to go for it on 4th down and 2, and they had it. They had the real estate and gave it up. Pitch goes to Johnson. The first down on the spin move. Vieira made the tackle. Georgia trying to say that his knee hit. Nope, they're going to give him a better spot than what Georgia thought.
Yep, you're right. Open field, a good play call, because all of a sudden it's a kind of a counter action. You pitch the ball to Rudy and you get a one-on-one situation on the outside.
And as you can see, his knee did not touch down before that yard line. Watch this as he goes. See, he yanked that right leg up.
I said
right
this is a well officiated football game.
Yep.
Right by our first down marker.
Now in the center, straight up the middle. Boy, there's not much there this time. Brian Kenny, let's check with you again.
Ron, we get back to Nebraska and Kansas State. K-State leading 23-14 here as the fourth quarter gets underway. But Dan Alexander busting through, first down and more. He gets into the end zone. It's a 2-point game, fourth quarter, less than 14 minutes left.
Man, that's a slugfest.
A lot
right
of
there.
time there.
A real slugfest. Our situation with less than a minute to play, third quarter, 13-13. Georgia looked as though they were going to take a 13-0 lead in at halftime. 48-yard field goal by Duvall cut it to 10. Laird right over the middle, and he's got DeAndre Green. He will take it to close to the 10-yard line. Gilbert defensively.
DeAndre Green's a young receiver that Noel Mazzoni said has a lot of ability. Coming into this game, he's had 13 catches. Big third down here for the Georgia defense and Ben Laird. They're going to let the clock run out.
12 seconds down to 11. And the four fingers go up, or the fist goes up, I should say. That is the end of the third quarter. So we'll take a timeout. Georgia 13, Auburn 13. Back with the final 15 minutes after this. Ray Stuttel is warming himself with it. That's not a real fire, but that is a real marshmallow. But we wondered why it wouldn't get brown. The final 15 minutes, third down and 6. The ball just outside the 10. From the shotgun. Laird under heavy pressure, drills it. Touchdown, Danvers. Seymour with tremendous pressure. But the situation is, whatever Noel Mazzoni decided they were going to do, it has worked. That is 4 straight possessions they have scored on.
And the difference in this second half is Ben Laird. Ben Laird is playing to a high percentage here in the second half.
Damon Duvall to attempt the extra point. Good pass, knocks it home. This is an Auburn team that slumbered through the first almost 30 minutes of play, and now they have scored on 4 straight possessions to go on top by a count of 20-13. We're coming right back. Presentation of primetime college football is brought to you by Mitsubishi Motors, the 2001 Galant, wake up and drive, and by Tostitos, dig in, kick back, stay all season. Jordan-Hare Stadium, we said, filled to capacity tonight. It is exactly that, 85,612 on hand. Georgia, for the most part, owned the first half. The second half, it's been the Tigers of Auburn. And we have 14:55 to play in our ball game. We'll see if the Dogs can wrestle the momentum back. From the goal line, it's Thornton. He's Evans, and he's going to be penalized for hitting him out of bounds.
The difference in both these offenses, Rudy Johnson. You got the running game going the second half. Georgia has not been able to run the football.
Well, the answer to tonight's Aflac trivia question, who was the last Auburn quarterback to defeat Georgia in consecutive seasons? Actually, Reggie Slack, 1988 and 1989. In fact, he went 6-0 against Georgia, Florida, and Alabama those 2 years. By the way, a thanks to Ashley Weaver for that suggestion on the Ask Adrian website. We look at Pat Sullivan.
Tried to throw you off.
Yeah, they did. Georgia rushing this hand. 4 carries, 18 yards.
Yeah, that's been the difference in the game. You can't lay this quarterback out here like that, Corey Phillips, without giving him some opportunity to run the football. Now he's got to drop back and get this passing game going.
Dumps it off to Saints. And Jasper will take it out across the 35. That's McNeil defensively. And let's check with Brian Kenny again. Brian?
On get back to Nebraska and Kansas State. At this point, Nebraska within 2 and starting to move him off the line. Look at the blocking for Dan Alexander. He gets 45 on this for the touchdown. He's up over 120 yards, and it's 28-23 Cornhuskers.
Didn't look like there was any defensive players on the play.
I was trying to ask you, was that 8, 9, or 10 in the box, Mike? There was nobody left in the secondary.
I think they were all in the stands.
2nd and 7. This pass complete, and that's Robinson, but not for very much. Didn't get out of bounds at the 37.
Good tackle by Larry Casher right after the catch. Long way to throw the ball in college football when you throw from the left hash mark and throw it all the way to the wide side of the field. Larry Casher is going to make that play break on it. Darrell Robinson with a catch. Big, big 3rd down for the young quarterback.
Remember that same pattern run by Florida State with Outsom in the national championship game, and it was picked off in return for a touchdown. Casher now 7 tackles, all solo. 3rd and 5. Line to make the 42. Pressure is on, and it is picked up by Pate. Rob Pate with the interception.
Alton Moore pressured the quarterback. James Collier, the linebacker, got Corey Phillips moving to the left. He threw across his body. You watch this play now. Here's the pressure, the blitz. Now they get him moving. Now he throws off his foot. Back foot gets it picked off by Rob Pate. Good defensive call by the Auburn staff.
Good job by Pate to get a hand underneath that football. Look at this hit.
That's what they didn't do in the first half because Corey Phillips had the lead. Now they're forcing him into making mistakes.
Play action by Laird. Dumps it off. And he's back to his tight end Diamond, who maintained his balance. It's going to be a gain of 11 yards. Adrian, what do you have for us?
Not a severe injury, but slight to Ben Laird. Sore right knee, Ron. Had he bent that back any further in the previous offensive series, they would have called it a hyperextension. He just came over. It's a little cool down here. He's not like playing in cold weather. Just starting to tighten up a little bit. He said the best thing he can do is just get back in the game, keep moving around on it. So far, no real lack of stability as I see that, Ron.
Okay. 13 minutes left in our ball game. Auburn trying to capitalize off a turnover.
maybe at halftime he read that note again from his mother, because he's playing like he's been encouraged.
Rudy Johnson, not much there, and it is Vieira who will get penetration and hitting behind the line of scrimmages. Millard and Stroud also putting a lot of pressure and forcing the play back farther behind the line of scrimmage.
This Georgia defense knows they can't give up many more points because their offense can't run the ball tonight. You got a young quarterback.
Mike Vieira now has 7 tackles, 5 solo, and a touchdown return of 75 yards with the interception. But Pate coming up with a big move just a moment ago. Laird drills it, incomplete. Crowd wanted something there. Wansley was there very quickly. I think Charles Grant tipped that ball, and that's the reason pass interference was off.
Yeah, I would not question this crew. They've been on everything tonight. Now the crowd's booing here. Let's see if they could have been interference, Ron. McMichael looks like he got his legs tied up with the...
You're right. Even before the ball could have been tipped. So it's 3rd down and 14. They need to take it to the 18.5-yard line. Laird looks for the end zone, and it is knocked away on a nice defensive play by Corey Robinson, number 26, a senior out of Tucker, Georgia.
Tried to get the ball to DeAndre Green, put it up, jump ball, but they're going to force the field goal attempt here. Ben Laird trying to get the ball deep. Just became a jump ball.
Yeah, DeAndre Green actually played a little bit of defensive back there and knocking the ball down so it wouldn't be picked off.
Damon Duvall, who's been hot tonight, and he's had good distance on his kicks. Going to need it here.
It's going to be a new personal best if he hits it. 49 yards. He's already hit one from 48. Good pass, and he stroked another one. You can see the Auburn people up and cheering already. 48, 49 yards. Damon Duvall showing some strength that he has not shown prior to this evening. Accuracy, yes, but not this kind of distance. And all of a sudden, Auburn is up by 10 points. Let's take a timeout. 11:56 left in our ball game, and the new score: Auburn 23, Georgia 13. So Damon Duvall has been a one-man wrecking crew as far as Georgia is concerned as well. He has been extremely consistent. Corey Phillips stands on the sidelines talking with Terrence Edwards. Quincy Carter. Love to know what's going through his mind right now, because Georgia, as we said, really had the momentum in the first half, and in the second half it's been all Auburn. From the 7-yard line, Bruce Thornton. Now everything, and I mean everything, that Auburn does, this crowd is up and is roaring. But it's time for you, the viewer, to go online and help us select tonight's player of the game. Here's the list of nominees: Rudy Johnson, Ben Laird, Damon Duvall, Corey Phillips, Vieira, or Richard Seymour. And please make sure you punch the right slot.
Follow the arrow. I tell you, right now I'm torn between Rudy Johnson and Damon Duvall.
Just a little too long. Darrell Robinson, the intended receiver.
Talked about the first half. Georgia, everything went right for them, and Corey Phillips, they could keep him wrapped up. But now the second half, Tommy Tuberville did what he wanted to do in the first half: make Corey Phillips beat you.
And the other thing is that John Lovett can dial up a little more heat than what he had in the first half.
Pressured him on the last series and got an interception by Rob Pate. Terrence Edwards has not been much of a factor.
Flags are down, movement all over the place, particularly on the left side of the offensive front.
Jonas Jennings.
Throw the snap. False start. Movement in the offensive line. Get 5-yard penalty. Repeat, second down.
Well, look on the sideline, and that is just wonderful to view. Tim Carter, who was taken off in an ambulance, and you can see the reaction as his teammates find out that he has come back on the field, coming over and offering their good words, and glad to see him. Edwards this half, you mentioned him, Mike, 1 catch for 3 yards. Phillips slips down. Adrian Carson, I understand you have a little bit more on Tim Carter.
The lift at his return to the sidelines right at the turn of the quarter, start of the fourth quarter, that gave the Auburn Tigers very difficult to describe, because as the word was going up and down the line of players, they turned their heads and saw him coming down the line, smiles all over the place. If there's an intangible, if they can win this game, I can't say that Tim Carter returning doesn't have something to do with that one.
We see Ronnie Daniels and Worthy, the entire receiving corps over there, asking him exactly what happened.
Ron, there's so much togetherness in a football team. You go through so many things. They care about that young man.
Musa Smith, the tailback, and you can see where he's lined up at his own end zone. Flags are down, and it looks as though there was movement again.
Prior to the snap, movement, offensive line, half the distance to go. Repeat, third
So the
down.
slip a moment ago, there had already been movement, and then the slip, and now another one. And Mike, they are really, they have a situation here where they've got to be playing to make sure they can get it out around the 5 so they can have a full 15 to snap the ball for the punt.
They played the first half with confidence, Corey Phillips. Now they've had so many illegal procedures, and everything's falling apart for them right now. That's where somebody has to step up. But this is a young offensive football team.
5 penalties this half on Georgia. Clock runs. 10 minutes 32, now 31. Third down, and they have to take it all the way out to the 28.5-yard line. They're not going to get this play off. Flags are down, and they'll push it back to the 1-yard line.
I don't know if they reset the clock on this play. But they're going to get a delay call.
Prior to the snap, delay the game against the offense. Half the distance to go. Still third down.
Auburn just looking for a big play. Jim Donnan probably just run this football, Ron, try to knock it out a couple of yards to give your punter some room or throw the bomb.
The danger of throwing down here, obviously, an offensive holding call, and then you've given yourself up for safety.
One of two things: run the ball, try to get some room for the punter, or hang it up deep.
Field goal loosens up on the sideline. Kurt McGill with the shotgun snap. Phillips going to go long, is hit just as he throws, and it hits the ground. And now Georgia is going to be in a very short punt formation as Josh Weldon was hitting the quarterback just as the ball was delivered.
Yeah, Auburn has done a good job substituting their defensive linemen. They're fresh. There's Josh Weldon, who's a third-team defensive tackle, making this play on Corey Phillips. They will end up with great field position if they don't block this kick.
You see him looking behind himself, and we don't have to tell you that if he, a high pass or whatever, if he takes one step back.
Well, the referee's got his eyes right on that line.
Yep. It would be a safety.
Blocking kick.
Yeah, that's what he did. This is a gorgeous kick. Unbelievable. Back over the head of Clifton Robinson. He will field it at the 31-yard line, and now is going to be tackled. Folks, That is about a 68-yard kick. That's a career long, and Jermaine Phillips got downfield to make the tackle. Next Thursday on ESPN, college football tonight. We'll preview of the weekend at 7:30. Then Wyoming tries to slow down Matt Newton and 20th ranked Colorado State as the Rams close in on the Mountain West Conference title. For more, log on to ESPN.com. And a point to make. The fact that Colorado State was beaten today, they were up by 2 games, so they still can clinch it with that game right there. And also Air Force winning but really did help them.
Well, they have a bowl bid now. They out of the Mountain West needed this win or next week against San Diego State.
Play action. Ball thrown a little too far. Let's go back to one thing. Jonathan Kilgo, how can you say enough about the young man? You talk about a pressure situation. He had about 10 yards to receive this ball, and as you said, rock and kick. And you can see by his reaction, he knows that he just hit a 330-yard drive. I mean, that ball went 68 yards. And what he did is he flipped the field. Auburn thought they'd get the ball on Georgia's side of the 50.
Yeah. Now the defense for Georgia has to take over. Ben Laird needs a couple first downs now to keep putting pressure on this Georgia team.
2nd and 10. Rudy Johnson gets a block from his tight end, Robert Johnson. And Henderson makes the tackle. Brian Kenny, let's go back to you.
Ron, Kansas State and Nebraska. Look at this. In the driving snow, Kansas State down 28-23. Jonathan Beasley, 2. Quincy Morgan, he's got nearly 200 yards receiving. It's 29-28. They went for 2, didn't get it. Less than 3 minutes to go.
Wow. 29-28, snowstorm.
They go Oklahoma's watching that game.
Yeah, for sure. We've now gone under 9 minutes left to play in our game. 3rd down. They need 9 yards to get the first down. Laird zings his pass, has it complete at the 50 to Marcel Willis. And he's going to be a couple of yards short of the first down.
And the way your defense is playing, you got to punt this football. Not even a question.
Henderson made the tackle on that play.
Make the redshirt sophomore go 80 yards to beat you, to get back in the game.
6th punt of the night by Damon Duvall. They got it. Kick is blocked, still on the ground, and Auburn, that's Pate who picks it up.
Corey Kyer.
Kyer is the man who blocked it.
They've been close all night. They hit one.
You told me they won the timeout. You said, I'm going to be amazed if they don't block one.
They've been so close all night on blocking a punt. You figure they're going to get one here. Corey Kyer, number 82, is going to get his hands on the football. Block it. They got too much penetration. Talk about flipping the field now. Go back to Kilgore's punt.
Go back to Kilgore's punt, and what a difference it made. Well, we'll find out right now. Does it make a difference of a field goal or a touchdown? We still have 8:01 to play. Phillips lobs it over the middle, and that's the tight end, Javarius Johnson, tackled by Alex Lincoln, and a gain of 10 yards. If Georgia scores right here, we really got ourselves a ball game with just over 7 minutes to play.
Well, and again, I'm surprised about Terrence Edwards. Not much of a factor. Auburn's done a nice job on him.
Sanks spins by one tackler. You can see McNeil trying to take the ball away as Mark Brown makes the tackle for Auburn.
A lot of time for this Georgia offense.
Well, we visited with Ben Laird's parents earlier. Corey Phillips' parents looking on anxiously, realizing that their son has an opportunity to put his team into the promised land and make this a three-point ball game. There's Edwards, makes the catch and is bumped out of bounds immediately at the 26 by Larry Kasher. You know, Mike, it's the first time this half that Georgia has been in Auburn territory.
The whole second half has been Auburn.
Yep.
In everything they've done up until that block punt.
Look at this. Talk about flipping a field or flipping a game. Auburn 166 second half yards, only 39 for Georgia. But right now, if they can move it another 26 yards, it's a three-point game. Pressure on Phillips. Barely gets this one away, gets it away to Terrence Edwards, and he's still being shoved out of bounds on the far sideline.
Make you work for everything you get tonight. Rashad Walker, number 37, with the tackle. They brought the blitz, Ron, and they tightened up man coverage.
Brown with pressure, and I'll tell you, Walker better get out of there quickly because he might be lucky he didn't get a flag for continuing to push him out of bounds.
Yeah, I think he got caught up in that tarp over there.
Yeah.
Slipped on it. That's his story.
Quincy Carter faces the sideline with that right thumb in a cast.
All he can do is try to be a cheerleader.
Third down. Line to make is the 20. Phillips right over the middle, has it complete to Edwards. Now let's see from where they're going to spot it down. It appears as though it will not be a first and goal. It'll be a 1st and 10, and they will be able to pick up a first down without scoring.
But now Edwards all of a sudden has become the main target for Corey Phillips, working on Rashad Walker, the southpaw defensive back. Here's where it gets tough for Georgia because they haven't been able to run the ball.
Yeah, and that's a great
point. So you
run
out of field down here to throw the football.
Edwards now 7 catches, 39 yards. He has 3 catches on this drive alone. They give it to Jasper Sink. Dances around, tried to spin off the tackler, but he spun right into Courtney Rose's arms, and he'll have maybe 2.
Really got to credit Auburn's defense tonight. They have not allowed Georgia to get any running going. Milliken had a couple big runs, but other than that, wiped them out.
One of the long runs he fumbled on.
One of them he fumbled on. It's been entirely a defensive scoring effort for Georgia.
Under 6 minutes to play now. Phillips, pressure on him, and he's sacked at the 17-yard line by DeMarco McNeil. First time that they've been able to sack him tonight. He took that big hit earlier after he delivered the pass. That was not a sack. This one is by McNeil.
Yeah, Don Dunn, the defensive line coach, wants DeMarco McNeil to get down weight-wise a little bit. He thinks he can be a special defensive lineman.
So there's a timeout on the field. 5:21 left in our ball game. 23-13. Auburn leads it, but Georgia driving. Mike, I just want to show you, it may be snowing up in Manhattan, Kansas. That's not ice or snow. That's Vaseline they have on the goalpost here at Auburn. And, you know, frankly, it is, boy, it's fun for the kids and all that kind of stuff, but it's also dangerous. It is very dangerous.
Ron, one thing dangerous for Georgia right now, you don't want an interception because you want to at least come away with 3 here.
You don't want an interception, and you don't want a sack.
No.
3rd down and 15. Sets for the end zone. He's got him. Edwards for the touchdown. 4 catches in that drive for Edwards. What a clutch performance by him. And all of a sudden, with the extra point, we got a field goal ball game.
You want a touchdown is what you want. You don't want an interception. You don't want a sack. If you're a Georgia fan, you want a touchdown. And Terrence Edwards has been more involved in this entire series. Gets down the middle, wide open for the touchdown. You got to credit Corey Phillips. Now Auburn got to find a way to burn 5:16.
Good pass. Billy Bennett splits them. So with 5 minutes, 16 seconds left in our ball game, it is a brand new ball game. The Auburn Tigers 23 and the Georgia Bulldogs 20. In this, the 104th meeting between these two schools.
Terrence Edwards, it's an empty set. Nobody in the backfield. Corey Phillips does a nice job of looking off. And I believe he got the linebacker there just to move a little bit.
And his
Alex Lincoln.
His parents are extremely excited.
Hugs for everybody. Now Auburn, Tommy Tuberville's got pressures on his quarterback from Georgia, Ben Laird.
Brian Kenny, let's go back and check with you. What do you have for us?
Well, again, it's 29-28 Kansas State. Nebraska gets the football back. It's 4th and 6. Less than a minute to go. They have to get closer for a field goal shot. Matt Davison in the air. No, batted away by Dyshawn Carter. It's over. Kansas State has beaten Nebraska back-to-back in Manhattan for the first time ever. K-State beats Missouri. They get to the Big 12 title game.
Wow.
Happiest people is Oklahoma. They don't want to play Nebraska again. Of course, I'm not sure Kansas State's any prize either. Both good football teams.
Yeah, they're obviously playing better. 8 plays, 42 yards, 2 minutes, 45 seconds. Edwards, as we told you, 4 receptions on that drive. This one 2 yards deep. He is going to return it. That's Hood. And here comes a flag. So the bottom line is Hood 2 yards deep probably should have taken a knee there, because instead of getting to 20-yard line, this penalty is going to put it back around the 10-yard line. Well, the college football tonight scoreboard follows our game, time permitting. Then at 11 Eastern, Carl Ravitch and Bill Pito with Sports Center. Scores and highlights from a very big day in college football, along with the NHL, the NBA, Tiger Woods in Spain, and previews of Week 11 in the National Football League. Ryan Fleming is down, the player who was injured. And as we suggested, I tell you, Mike, that's not going to be at the 10. They put that thing all the way back to the 5-yard line.
Just thinking about Nebraska's loss, how that's going to, again, jumble up the top 6 teams. You'd think Oregon would get up there a little closer.
That makes the Civil War next week in the state of Oregon even bigger, doesn't it?
Now, Oregon State's got to get by Arizona tonight, which I don't believe they've ever won at Arizona.
No.
So they're going to have to do it first. Miami looked very good today. And Florida State struggled a little bit with Wake Forest in the first half, but then cleared them out in the second half.
Yeah, you're right. We get to see that Miami ball club next Saturday night. We're in the Carrier Dome in Syracuse, New York. And talk about no bargain. That Syracuse defense is no bargain. Rudy Johnson spins off one tackle. Stroud gets him. It was Evans who had him first.
Ron, go back to that. The events that changed this field position around, that got Georgia back in this football game. Jonathan Kilgo with the long punt that you talked about. He knocked it over 60. Then the block punt, that changed the field around for Georgia. So Georgia's special team, which has been beaten most of this football game, really came up big with 2 big plays. And now, if they hold Auburn down here,
look at all these numbers right there. Tip punt, block punt,
big,
2 punts of over 60 yards.
Usually talk about it at the beginning of the season.
Short drop and the pass. Did he catch it? Yes, he did. That's DeAndre Green. And let's don't leave out the ball. We've talked about him. What a great, consistent job by him tonight. So the kickers have been asked to perform and have responded extremely well. There are the timeouts. Georgia with 2, Auburn with 3. Clock now under 4 minutes to play.
This may be the biggest third down of both these teams' season.
I know there are a lot of bowl representatives here tonight.
They got all the seats. tonight. Peach Bowl, I know I saw them back there. Sugar Bowl, Citrus Bowl.
Outback Bowl. Laird's pass, too far. Reggie Worthy, the intended receiver, and you can see the celebration over there on the Georgia side for their defense. And this young man is going to get another opportunity. Corey Phillips, with under 3.5 minutes to play, his offense will get another shot.
And remember, they have had trouble punting the football tonight. Georgia has tipped one and blocked one and come close on about 3 other ones.
So let's keep an eye. Auburn quickly gets a special teams player off the field. They had one too many. Good pass, and he rapidly gets this one away. Great high coverage kick. Signals for the fair catch and makes it at the 41, Damian Gary. 47 yards in the punt. So again, the special teams kickers come through big time. Adrian Carson, what do you have for us, buddy?
Well, with all the emotion, consider what Auburn has played with tonight. Ron, I can tell you from personal experience, one of the reasons they came with so much emotion was because some of the 15 most extravagant minutes in college football. It's called the Tiger Walk. You don't get to do this unless you get the invitation from the head coach. So I accepted it. And Ron, I got to tell you what. No, I didn't play football at Auburn, but people with tears in their eyes, giving you high fives, slapping you on the back. What an emotional experience. If you can't get up for a game here after doing the Tiger Walk, well, then something's wrong. Just a fantastic moment in college football for me.
That's great. That's great, Adrian. You've been a busy guy today.
He has. He's done it all.
Phillips drills the pass complete, and it's going to be maybe a gain of 2 to LeBron Mitchell.
Adrian did play at Northwestern. So a lot of people looked at him today and said, is that our new tackle? Or?
Well, I have to confess that last night when he was over doing the Georgia player interviews, that Coach Donnan invited him to go to the pregame meal table, which they didn't have to twist his arm, and I get a record report on how much food he ate.
He ate more than Stroud and Seymour.
2nd down and 9. Right over the middle, got him. That is Reggie Brown, and boy, does he get hit. Walker, one of the first men to get there on Brown, who was not a real big guy.
A lot of times you want your receiver like Reggie Brown, instead of taking it to the sideline, dart up inside and get all you can get, because we're going to come down to 3rd and 2, Jim Donnan's team. Now Auburn defensively looking for a stop. 2:15. This is 2-down territory here.
Brown's up. Going to run the middle screen. Had the blockers set up. And it maybe was a little too high, but he should have caught the football.
Ron, there's 2:04 on the clock. And you've got all... Georgia's got 2 timeouts, so they got to go for this.
Auburn 23, Georgia 20. 2 minutes and 4 seconds left. Home team has not won since 1991.
Well, it comes down to this.
They need to take it to the 48.5-yard line to pick up the first down. Phillips drills it complete. That's Gary, and it's first down, and Georgia moves the chains. Good for 11 yards.
And we talked about Corey Phillips this entire ball game. Not phased, not excited. Second start of the season, replacing Quincy Carter. Throws a bullet for a first down.
2 young men went to the same high school.
Yep. They met at the middle of the field before the ball game. Talked.
Ben Laird and Corey Phillips, of course, who they're talking about. High pass, he gathers it over the middle. Intercepted. Brown, Mark Brown, and there is a flag down.
Flag in the secondary. That's either got to be a pick or a hold on Auburn, or a pick on Georgia. Bad snap for Corey Phillips. He never got a chance to look down the field to see what the coverage was. Flag sitting about the 21-yard line.
Georgia's celebrating
They might have too many men on the field. Yep.
Against the Blue. Be a 5-yard penalty. Remain first down.
Tried to get somebody off the field, Ron. And that's what it was. Here's the player for Auburn trying to get off the field.
That's McNeil, isn't it?
Didn't get off.
Either Tarver 82 or McNeil 92. Hard to tell from that angle.
And then keeps the drive now. He gets 1st and 5.
Clock shows 1 minute and 36 seconds left. 1st down and 5. Biggest thing for Georgia, they still have possession of the ball. Zings this pass, has it complete to Damian Gary. Gain of 9 on the play.
Corey Phillips again, just staying very calm, cool, and collected. They're working on Rodney Creighton in the short side of the field.
By the way, we saw Bennett there, 30-43, his longest field goal as that ball is tipped and almost intercepted by Larry Kasher.
Larry Kasher in good shape to knock that ball away and almost pick it off. Here again, you look for players who make plays all season. Auburn surely will bracket Terrence Edwards, number 8, with 2 defenders.
Kasher tonight, 8 tackles, 7 of them solo, and also 2 pass breakups. 2nd down and 10. Phillips has it complete to Gary. He is inside the 10-yard line. Rodney Creighton with the cover, but it's good for 19 yards.
Yeah, no pressure at all on Corey Phillips the last couple plays. Been able to sit in the pocket and find Damian Gary on this route. You see a good job of the offensive line protecting. Damian Gary gets Rodney Creighton turned around.
Well, I can tell you right now, Jim Donnan, as we look at Bennett on the sideline, this is definitely 4-down territory, and he does not want a field goal. He doesn't want to tie this thing. He wants to get it in the end zone and head back to Athens.
Here's where they have a problem again, Ron, when you get inside the 10-yard line without a running game. They ran a draw on 1st down the last series.
By the way,
see if they go back to the draw with Brett Milliken.
Gary, 6 catches. That's a career high for him. Off the mark, looking for Gary again, and I'll tell you, they keep going back to Creighton's side.
But you can play a lot tighter now with the ball inside the 10-yard line in coverage. Jim Donnan actually given the play to Corey Phillips. He ran off the sideline to get this play.
So they break the huddle with the 2nd down and goal. You can see where the ball is located. Phillips, middle screen. That's Damian Gary, and he hung a cleat in the turf or something and fell down. He was going down before contact was made.
Georgia's going to take a timeout, Ron. It will leave them with 1 timeout.
So let's take a break. 53 seconds left in our ball game. It is 23-20 Auburn. Okay, Michael, put you on the spot. Call the play. Where would you try to find the hole in the Tiger defense?
I'm going to try to find it to the wide side of the field. I'm going to put Terrence Edwards over there somewhere where I can get him on a route. But I'm sure Jim Donnan told Corey Phillips, we do not need an interception here either. We could tie it with a field goal, but we'd like to win this right now. But Edwards would be the guy I would look for. He's a middle receiver right here.
3rd down and goal. They're going to run it. Takes off to the left. Edwards, did he get it in?
Wow. Real close, Ron. Good call by Jim Donnan.
Well, you remember we talked about that they would be able to pick up a 1st down without scoring, but where they have placed it down. This is certainly not close enough.
And Terrence Edwards on a sweep all the way. Jim Donnan lines him up at quarterback. He's going to take the field goal here. He's close. He's in.
He stays in right there. It's the left foot. Otherwise, he scores it. I mean, the official's right there. Yeah. Billy Bennett with the field goal attempt. 19 yards. And he got it. 41 seconds left in our ball game, and we are tied at 23. You know, Mike, the interesting thing is Edwards was literally 6 inches from scoring as far as being able to keep that foot in bounds.
I think what Jim Donnan's arguing about, but he was out of bounds.
Oh, yeah, there's no question. But you just look how very close that his momentum took him just that much to the sideline. See, he's in bounds there. He's out of bounds right there at the 1.5.
Before he stretches the football out.
Yeah. So it all comes down to 2 young men from Hartwell, Georgia.
And number 8, Edwards. As they stick him at quarterback in a key situation, Ron.
Now, when you look at strategy for something like this is one of those things where the fans want you to go for all the marbles. If you're Tommy Tuberville, unless you get a long kick return, don't you burn the 41 seconds on the clock?
You run a draw or you hit a screen and see what you pick up. You pick up some good yardage, then you keep it in play. Because he still has 3 timeouts. Kickoff is what's going to dictate his strategy, what kind of return he gets.
First half belonged to Georgia. Then a goodly part of the second half belonged to Auburn until a blocked kick. The momentum shifted, and now it is the Georgia Bulldogs who have come back and tied this ball game at 23. Kerouac with the kick. 1 yard deep in the end zone. This is Hood.
Now, Ron, a draw or some type of quick screen. See if you can pick up anything. Otherwise, we're heading for overtime.
The numbers on Ben Lear tonight: 22 of 36, 146 yards, 2 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. One of those intercepts with 75 yards for a touchdown. And DeBall, well, we have talked about his effectiveness and how good he has been. Auburn calls a timeout.
Took too long to get the ball, to get the players on the field, and they took too long.
Goes without saying, nobody has left this stadium tonight.
Damon Duvall, Ron, has been big tonight for Auburn in the kicking game. You can see the distance he gets on his field goals. You know, right down Main Street.
That thing there might have gone 60-something yards.
There's Eddie Graham, who's responsible for the kicking game.
Well, 1996, yes, 1996. It took 4 overtimes for Georgia to win the football game. Are we headed to overtime tonight? Both coaches pacing on the sideline. Rudy Johnson back into the short side of the field. Millard will knock him down.
Yes, a safe play, Ron. Again, you're backed up. You don't want to make a mistake here. Looks like that both teams will be satisfied to go to overtime. See what happens on this play. 31 seconds left. Still 2 timeouts for Auburn. If they could hit a play, get a run, get Rudy loose. And it looks like it's going to be Rudy time here. Try to make a play.
Rudy Johnson again, this time right up the middle, and he was within a step. You could see very quickly Jermaine Phillips was coming up. It was not the last man that he was about to beat in Tony Gilbert. But he gets into that hole very rapidly. Kids on the bench looking up at the clock. Jonas Jennings here says, okay, let's go to a little overtime. 11 seconds, now 10, and that's exactly what's going to happen. We're going to have an extra period as Georgia and Auburn are going to finish 60 minutes of play, tied at 23. Overtime records, Georgia 2-1, Auburn 0-1.
And Jim Donnan, who coached at Marshall and won AA for many years, used the overtime quite a bit more in 1AA than he has in 1.
So we'll talk more about it. Timeout on the field. We are through regulation and headed to overtime, tied at 23. So we're back, and we are about to go to overtime between Georgia and Auburn. A reminder, just what we told you off the top of the telecast. The home team has not won at home. Well, of course, the home team hasn't won since 1991. Really a strange situation. Mike, last year we went to Athens. Huge favorites, the Georgia Bulldogs. Auburn scores 38 unanswered points to begin the football game.
Yeah, I saw Jim Donnan quoted as saying, you know, maybe we look back to the Florida game a little bit too much last year, but I really thought they were ready to play tonight, and I thought they had a good game plan even without Quincy Carter in the football game.
Okay? Don't make a choice if you're not sure of. Good luck. Oh, boy. All I have to say is that's a great football game.
That's Brett Milliken.
Be terrible for well, somebody's going to lose. Listen, you get the call. Now, what your choices are, offense, defense, or the end of the field, the winner of the coin toss. You ready? Yeah. Call it in the air. If I drop it, we'll flip it again. Tails. He calls the tails. It is a heads. You win the toss.
Defense first.
You want defense.
Yes, sir.
You want to go that way. So you want to choose, you want offense, right?
You go defense.
You're into the field. I got you. You're absolutely right. We're going down here then. Right. So you guys are going to be on defense down here. And each team gets 1 timeout. You with me? Okay, let's go. Have a great game.
So overtime is set. And let's run down the rules of overtime in case you're not familiar with exactly what transpires. You've just seen the coin toss for a choice of offense and which end to defend. Each team gets 1 possession from the opponent's 25 per overtime until the winner is decided. No game clock, play clock only. And teams must go for 2-point conversion after the second overtime. That's almost like the Georgia-Auburn rule after they had that marathon.
Ron, I don't like this overtime rule, and I'll tell you why. Because we've seen kicking game determine this ball game tonight. You take the punters out of the football game. You take the kickoff men out of the football game. I don't like it.
Sports Center coming up next. Corey Phillips comes trotting out. Remember, no game clock, but there is a play clock, and it is already at 8 and counting. From the shotgun, right up the middle, and that is Milliken, who was out for the coin flip. And Auburn has a player down at the line of scrimmage. And it looks like Alex Lincoln, the middle linebacker, who is shaken up on the play.
Been a well-played football game, well-officiated game. It's the best crew I've seen officiating this year.
Do not disagree.
No, it's been quick. Decisions quick. They've been on top of everything, and been a well-played football game.
Now, Lincoln, you could see him moving his legs. Maybe we can get a better idea of what happened here. Then he got kicked in the head by his teammate. That's 52 Mark Brown, who accidentally kicked Lincoln in the head. Lincoln's got 3 tackles tonight, all solo, 1 for a loss.
And a big story, Ron, because he wasn't recruited out of high school, went to Mississippi College, played football, transferred here, was the leading tackler last year on this football team, leading tackler this year on the team.
If you just now tuned in, the reason we were taking a shot of number 2 Tim Carter on the sideline, he suffered a blow to the head back in regulation and had to be taken to the hospital by ambulance. But they got him there, checked him over, and realized that that he had taken a severe lick. It went without saying, but that he was okay. Nothing super severe. Sports Center coming up next. We're tied at 23. We're in overtime. That was the first play that has been run in overtime. And a reminder, next Saturday, college game day at 11 Eastern, followed by East Carolina taking down West Virginia. Then at 6 over on ESPN2, it's Ole Miss battling number 13 Georgia here in the SEC. In our ESPN primetime game, number 2 Miami takes on Syracuse. Hurricanes' hopes of a national title still very much alive. Special time on that one, 6:30 Eastern. Well, there are flags down everywhere. Milliken looked like McNeil came across and may have made contact, although Auburn is pointing at Georgia.
Head ball, contact by the defense. 5-yard penalty will be a first down.
And in overtime, you don't need to do anybody any favors when you're starting the scrimmage line at the 25.
Everybody points, so right away, if you make a mistake, point.
Alex Lincoln being checked over by the team physician on the sideline. Auburn 23, Georgia 23. First overtime. They run it back into the boundary. Milliken spins around. He's going to have a gain of close to 5. He's down to the 10.
Ron, now the strategy for Jim Donnan looks to be changing a little bit now. He doesn't want to put the pressure on Corey Phillips here. He's more run game oriented now. Remember the problems Georgia has had in this ball game when they get inside the 10-yard line. They have had problems throwing the football, and they've had to settle for some field goals. But here they're running the ball better with Milliken.
Milliken hit by Mark Brown and stopped just after he spun inside the 10. Mark Brown's had a nice game tonight. We have called his name quite a few times. In fact, we have him officially at 6 tackles on the evening.
And inside the 20, the problems they've had getting touchdowns.
Third down and 4. Here comes the pressure. Lobs for the end zone. There's nobody there. It's going to be 4th down for the Georgia Bulldogs.
Going to take the field goal. And this, when they go back and look at the tape tomorrow, the inability, once they get inside the 15-yard line, to knock it in the end zone could be the difference in this ball game.
Bennett from 25 yards. Good pass, and he knocks it home right down the middle. So Georgia is on the board in the overtime period, and now it's Auburn's turn. And according to the rules, and I'm sure you have followed football and this setup long enough to know, that Auburn has to answer at least with a field goal to keep this overtime going. If they score a touchdown, it is Auburn's game that they have won. So here comes the Auburn offense. Ball put down at the 25-yard line. We are in overtime. Georgia now on top, 26-23. No turnovers here, because if the defense takes it away, game over if you have the advantage. Ball is tipped. It is caught by Green, and what a dangerous situation right there. This overtime almost ended on that play.
Josh Millard really almost came up with a game-saving play, tipped the ball, almost got back over, but then hustled over and made the tackle. Number 98 is going to get a big right paw on this football, and now he hustles over and makes the play on Marcel Willis. A little surprised they didn't open up with Rudy Johnson.
Because it's a 2nd down and 12 from here. Here comes Rudy right at the middle. Has 5, 7, 8. Counted off at 9 yards, and Witherspoon made the tackle.
Well, you have him 2nd and 12, and then Rudy just rattled off about 10 of those 12. And you can expect Rudy again. I think everybody in this crowd feels that Rudy's going to get this football.
They've already started the Rudy. 3rd down and 2. Here's the pitch. Johnson, blocker in front. Oh, what a block by 44 Heath Evans to clear the way, and they have the 1st down.
One thing this gives you, Ron, you point out your fullback, Heath Evans. Hellman went back.
That was Tony Gilbert that he rocked him back. Here we come right here. Bam.
You do have the opportunity to fake to Rudy, and you may get a game-winning pass here of Ben Laird, but I'm not sure I'd take it out of Rudy's hands.
1st down, Tigers. Ball just inside the 15-yard line. Georgia scored on the first possession of overtime. It's now Auburn's turn. Quick pass. It is caught. That's Willis inside the 10-yard line at the 8.
What happens when Rudy runs the ball? You got to try to get that 8th guy in the box to stop the running game. And that opens it up. You get one-on-one coverage on the outside.
Here's the tough decision, I would think. You run Rudy again, or do you throw him?
I run Rudy. Rudy, Rudy, and Rudy. And more Rudy.
From the 8, they run it back into the short side of the field. Breaks the tackle. And is knocked down at the 1-foot line. Auburn 1 foot away from closing out the overtime. Jermaine Phillips finally knocked him out.
Ben Laird came over the sideline and told Tommy Tuber, only thing I can think of, he's telling me the quarterback sneak it for the touchdown. And that's what a big back's supposed to do, Ron. Wear people down in the 4th quarter, and if there's an overtime, wear them down more there. They brought the corner off the short side of the field. Just too tough to bring down. Good tackle by Jermaine Phillips to keep him from getting in that end zone.
So the situation, 1st down and goal, and that ball is inside the 1-yard line. Georgia scored a field goal on their first offensive possession in overtime, but now the Tigers, as Georgia calls a timeout, they are about 6 inches away. Well, the voting is complete. Tonight's Visa Player of the Game is selected by you, the fans at home, on ESPN.com, is Rudy Johnson. 145 rushing yards, received almost 45% of the votes on ESPN.com.
Can almost guarantee it's going to be a quarterback sneak here. They quarterback sneaked early in the ball game for for a key first down. Ben Laird, 6'4", 222. I'm not sure you want to take the ball off the line of scrimmage. You want to give the quarterback one chance to see if he can get it in.
Talk about a game of momentum swings. Tommy Tuberville's team in the first half, they were about as flat as you can be, with the exception of just before halftime, as Lincoln received treatment with ice in the back of his neck. But they got the field goal to go in at halftime, 13-3, and then they scored in their next 3 possessions. Then Georgia came back. Corey Phillips can't look, and I don't blame him. The young man has done a nice job tonight under extreme duress.
It's tough when you lose your #1 quarterback. But Ben Laird will tell this offensive line is clear it out.
Laird, quarterback sneak, and wins it. Well, there's a lot of celebrating on the field, but thank goodness cooler heads prevailed as far as people storming the field, and these goalposts will stay intact.
It's a big win for Auburn, Ron. Big win keeps them alive in the West, and then they get to face Alabama coming off a high.
And you have to admit, Mike, the way they looked in the first half, there's no way that they would win this football game.
No,
they were as flat as any team I've ever seen.
But they stayed in the game, and they came on the second half, got a big kickoff return right off the bat, and Rudy Johnson took over. Tommy Tuberville couldn't even look. Nobody looked.
Corey Phillips, obviously very, very disappointed down at Toomer's corner. Well, part of the tradition as they throw the toilet paper into the tree across from the drugstore. Final score, Auburn in overtime, 29 at Georgia 26. Coming up next is Sports Center. Next Saturday night, we'll be up at the Carrier Dome as #2 ranked Miami takes on Syracuse. For Mike Gottfried, Adrian Karsten, and our entire ESPN crew, I'm Ron Franklin. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com, your home for college football on the internet. Ron Franklin saying so long, everybody, from the plains of Alabama.